Chapter 1635. When Yang Wu came out of the Nine Divinities clan, he also had a token of the Nine Divinities clan. There were also two god-level protectors by his side. These two people were the support that the Nine Divinities clan had given to Yang Wu. During this period of time, they would protect Yang Wu until he went to the Medicine God Palace. These two protectors were called Buling and Gue Chandong. The former specialized in the power of wind and was extremely fast. He was at the mid-level of the divine realm. The latter was infinitely close to the mid-level of the divine realm. He was at the third level of the Jade Moon realm and specialized in the power of wood. Only someone with a divine body like Huashensi was qualified to have two god-level protectors. The Nine Divinities clan felt that this was already the best protection that they could give to Yang Wu. Yang Wu also understood. However, with his strength, it didn't matter if the two protectors were by his side or not. Moreover, he had Qi Jin following him. Qi Jin's combat ability was not much weaker than the two protectors. At present, Yang Wu had no place to stay. He could only go back to the Medicine God Palace. As a quasi-core disciple, he had such treatment. He was a guest elder of the Cottage Moon Hall and the Nine Divinities clan respectively. He could also stay in these two places. However, he still insisted on going back to the Medicine God Palace. He felt safer there. After all, he was already a disciple of the Medicine God Palace. He thought that after becoming a disciple of the Medicine God Palace, he could have more peace. Who knew that there would be more trouble? On the way, he met another person who stopped him. This person was also wearing an alchemist robe. There was a blue fire dancing on his body. His eyes were also glowing with a blue light. It was a bit scary. He looked straight at Yang Wu and said, "Wu Ho, join the Dark Elixir Palace." This person's voice was full of temptation. It directly affected one's soul and interfered with one's thoughts. This was a talent called soul-frightening voice. This person was also very powerful. When he used this kind of soul-frightening voice, saints would be controlled by him and listen to his orders. The two cultivators beside Yang Wu wanted to take action, but the same soul voice interfered with them, causing them to fall into a state of confusion. They only felt that the other party did not have any malicious intent and was only inviting Yang Wu. This terrifying, soul-frightening sound indeed entered Yang Wu's divine court and almost caused him to become absent-minded. Fortunately, his soul spirit was strong enough, and he also had the soul bell to suppress it. Myriad souls couldn't invade him. "Protect me," Yang Wu shouted. The protectors on his left and right were awakened by his voice. They immediately entered a defensive state and glared at the newcomer, ready to kill him at any time. "Don't be nervous. I just want to invite you to join our Dark Pellet Palace. Our Dark Pellet Palace is not inferior to the Medicine God Palace. As long as you join us, you will receive our full support and will be able to break through to the divine alchemist realm in a short period of time. In the future, you will definitely become a true divine alchemist. We will give you priority to all kinds of resources. This is something you can't get in the Medicine God Palace," said the person from Dark Pellet Palace. This time, he did not use the soul-frightening sound. Since it was useless, there was no need to use it again. "I have already agreed to join the Medicine God Palace. You don't have to waste your efforts," Yang Wu said with certainty. He didn't have a good impression of this person. He had just appeared and tried to use this method to control him. It was really too rude. "Looks like we can only use extreme methods," said the person from Dark Pellet Palace faintly. Suddenly, he attacked Yang Wu. In the night, a green claw grabbed at Yang Wu. This person attacked extremely quickly. The two people beside Yang Wu were caught off guard. Fortunately, the two of them blocked in front of Yang Wu. When they saw the attack coming, the two of them blocked it at the same time. Bang! The other party was a high-level divine realm expert. The green claw tore through the two people's block and grabbed at Yang Wu's chest. Just as the green claw was about to grab Yang Wu made his move. "Do you really think that I only know how to refine pills? You're too naive," Yang Wu shouted. He angrily slapped out with a fire palm and shattered the green claw. After coming to the divine realm, he still had the battle strength to fight against high-level divine realm experts. After all, he had already entered the 12th level of the Star Rune realm. The person from Dark Pellet Palace was astonished. He didn't expect Yang Wu to be able to block his attack. Kill. Buling and Gue Chundong came back to their senses. They each took out their battle weapons and attacked the person from Dark Pellet Palace. Even if their strength was inferior, they still had the responsibility of being protectors. They couldn't back down. The person from Dark Pellet Palace attacked again. He sent the two of them flying and went to capture Yang Wu. The Dark Pellet Palace also greatly desired an absolute emperor, sacred apothecary. Yang Wu didn't know what was good for him, so he forcefully took him to Dark Pellet Palace. After arriving there, it wouldn't be difficult to subdue Yang Wu. Green Dragon Claw. The power of the green flames increased explosively. They formed two dragon claws and clawed at Yang Wu. Yang Wu was already prepared for battle. The power in his arms was boundless. He swung out two powerful, snake-shaped whip shadows. Barbarian God's Arm. After the Barbarian God's Arm was integrated with the snake entanglement technique, its power became even stronger. It forcefully blocked the opponent's green dragon attacks. It's too difficult for you to catch me with your strength. Yang Wu felt that although the opponent's attack was fierce, it wasn't much of a threat to him. He roared and counterattacked. The Barbarian God's Arm swung continuously. It was like a coiling python. Not only did it block all of the opponent's attacks, it also bound the opponent. The person from Dark Pellet Palace was forced to retreat by Yang Wu. He was almost entangled. His face was full of depression. Why is this brat so strong? Is he really only a Saint Realm expert? It wasn't that he was too weak. Otherwise, Buling and Gue Chundong wouldn't have been sent flying by him. It was that Yang Wu was too strong. He couldn't help but wonder if Yang Wu was already a divine apothecary. He wasn't just an absolute emperor, sacred apothecary. In the instant that he was distracted, Yang Wu had already broken through the entanglement and punched the opponent's chest. Bang! The person from Dark Pellet Palace was sent flying. He took the opportunity to quickly retreat into the darkness. I'll look for you in the future. The person left behind some words. The people from Dark Pellet Palace are always trying to steal from our Medicine God Hall. They really deserve to die. An elder from a Medicine God Hall attacked in the darkness. A blade light slashed down, drawing a long line of light in the darkness. Yang Wu stared at the darkness. He realized that the blade didn't land on the person from Dark Pellet Palace. The person had escaped at extreme speed. The people from the Medicine God Hall chased after him. It was unknown whether they could take him down. There really isn't a moment of peace. Yang Wu sighed. We're sorry, young Master Wu. We failed to protect our master. Buling and Gue Chundong came before Yang Wu in shame. Both of them were injured, and their injuries weren't light either. If the other party had been a bit more heavy-handed, they would have died without a doubt. However, Yang Wu was able to force the other party to retreat. It was clear that Yang Wu's battle prowess was above theirs. It was likely that he wasn't inferior to their divine sons. Yang Wu waved his hand and said, the other party came prepared. Their strength is far above yours. You don't have to blame yourselves. Buling said, why don't we go back and ask the sect to send someone to protect young Master Wu? Before he could do so, people rushed over from all directions. There were even people from the Skyblaze sect among them. The place where they fought wasn't far from the Skyblaze sect. After sensing the commotion, they immediately rushed over. However, the people from the Hidden Elixir Palace fought with Yang Wu for too short a time. Before they could arrive, they had already retreated. Yang Wu didn't want to be the center of attention. He had Gue Chundong stay behind to explain things to the people from the Skyblaze sect. Then, he quickly returned to the Medicine God Hall with Buling. When he returned to the Medicine God Hall, Nanshi and Di Bei both appeared before him. Nanshi asked, are you all right? Yang Wu shook his head and said, I'm fine. The people from the Hidden Elixir Palace are becoming more and more presumptuous, Di Bei said angrily. They've always only used despicable methods. It's impossible for them to surpass our Medicine God Hall, Nanshi said. Then, she said to Yang Wu, if there's nothing else, stay here. I'll take you to see someone in 2 days. After that, we'll return to the main hall. Sure, Yang Wu replied straightforwardly. In any case, he had nothing else to do. First, he wanted to integrate into the Medicine God Hall. Yang Wu entered his room to cultivate. Outside the door, there was Qi Jin standing guard. Even Buling wasn't qualified to enter the medicine god hall. He could only wait outside. After Yang Wu entered his room, he couldn't wait to cultivate. He didn't want to delay any longer. It was too difficult to be strong in the god realm. No matter where he went, there would be trouble. Only with enough strength could he protect himself. He focused on absorbing the energy of heaven and earth. Strands of energy surged into his body like a tide. Here, he didn't have too many worries. The Supreme Nine Profound Arts was too powerful. It absorbed all the energy of heaven and earth nearby. There was a strange phenomenon that alarmed the people from the Medicine God Hall. Nanshi and Dibei didn't enter their rooms to sleep. They could clearly sense the commotion in Yang Wu's room. "Looks like my junior brother's cultivation talent is quite shocking," Nanshi said with satisfaction. Wu Ho used his own strength to block the attack of the people from the Dark Pill Palace. The other party is still at the 7th level of the Jade Moon Realm. I even suspect that he is hiding his strength, Dibei said with a trace of worry. If he was hiding his strength, he wouldn't be cultivating in such a big way. It must be like what he said. He just came out of the mountains and hasn't gotten involved yet. Nanshi replied. Then, she combed her hair and said, he should have the qualifications to become a moon-class disciple. I think so too. That's why I'm worried that he might be a spy. You don't have to worry about that. In 2 days, I will bring him to see someone. Everything will be clear. Nanshi returned to the Luo City Mansion. The person she wanted to see was the old mansion master of the Luo Mansion, Luo Tianming. This time, she came with a mission. Her master had once been indebted to the Luo residence and was a guest elder in the Luo residence. This time, she was under her master's orders to visit Luo Tianming. She had an important matter that required the old residence master's help. This old mansion master was the stabilizing force of the Luo mansion. He had the strength of a true god. If Yang Wu was hiding anything, everything would be clear in front of this old mansion master. Chapter 1636. For the past 2 days, Yang Wu stayed in his room and cultivated in peace. He increasingly felt the difference between the God realm and the transcendent realm. The Xian-Qi of heaven and earth here was incomparably dense. Only the human realm's All Saints Hall could compare to it. Furthermore, the Tao contained within was incomparably perfect. He faintly felt that his martial path was not complete, and the flaws were very obvious. However, he still had no way to fix it. He first needed to accumulate strength and adapt to the environment of the God realm. Then, he could comprehend the Tao again. The biggest difference between the God realm and the transcendent realm was that the gravity field here was very strong, and the density of the air was very high. It would greatly reduce one's attack power. The reason why one's destructive power was reduced was not because one's strength had decreased, but because of the environment. Therefore, only after completely adapting to the environment here could one's combat strength be maximized. Yang Wu had been in the God realm for a few days, but he still had not completely adapted. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Yang Wu's harvest was bountiful, and he finally slowly adapted to the environment of the God realm. Furthermore, his strength had increased by a lot. I've already absorbed 6 types of Xian Essence Qi. It won't be a problem for me to reach the Jade Moon realm. However, if I can absorb 1 more type of Xian Essence Qi, my cultivation speed will be even faster and my realm will rise even faster. Finding Xian Essence Qi will have to be put on the agenda. Yang Wu thought in his heart. At this time, Qi Jin outside interrupted his cultivation, and Nanshi invited him over. Yang Wu tidied up his clothes and went out of his room to see Nanshi in the medicine pavilion. When Nanshi saw Yang Wu, her eyes slightly raised and said, "Marshal Junior Brother, your spirit has improved a lot." Yang Wu smiled and said, "I've rested well. Naturally, I'll be fine. And alchemy is hard work." Then she did not doubt him, and after answering, she cut to the chase and said, "Come with me to the Luo Manor. If things go well, you can stay for a few more days. If not, we'll return to the main hall immediately." Yang Wu didn't ask why Nanshi was going to the Luo Manor. He just needed to follow her. The Luo Manor was the #1 faction in the Luo state. They were located in the eastern corner of the Luo Manor city, isolated from the rest of the world, forming an independent living space. The area of this space was extremely wide, like a small world. It was like the end of the transcendent world. There were many cultivation resources, and mountain ranges were located within, forming a general pattern. The chi of heaven and earth was more than 10 times more abundant than the outside world. Nanshi's status was extraordinary. When she arrived at the Luo Manor, someone came out to greet her. "Greetings, Miss Nan, please follow me." A middle-aged man dressed like a butler came to Nanshi and said respectfully, "To visit such an overlord force, one had to submit a visiting card in advance." Nanshi only came to visit after she received a reply about the visiting time, so someone came out to greet her. Nanshi took Yang Wu and followed the housekeeper into the Luo Mansion's main gate. Array formations were activated on both sides of the gate, forming a door of light. When they stepped through the door, they arrived in another space. When Yang Wu first arrived at the Luo Manor, he was instantly shocked by the environment of the manor. This place was like an immortal palace. The mountain ranges were like dragons, the rivers surged, the pavilions were lined up in rows, and the cries of spirit birds could be heard. Clouds and mist lingered around, and the sun rose to the 9 heavens. It was incomparably grand. In the transcendent world, Yang Wu had seen the blessed paradises of various large sections. All of them added together couldn't compare to the Luo Manor's grandeur. This was a true grand palace. It was an eye-opener for him. Nanshi saw Yang Wu's shock and was even more certain that Yang Wu had just come out of the village and hadn't seen the world. That was why he had such an expression. She smiled and said, "The Luo Manor is the #1 faction in the Luo state. It's not surprising that they have such a manor. Other factions don't have such grandeur." After pausing for a moment, she said, "Our medicine god palace is even grander than this." Yang Wu came back to his senses and said, "I've embarrassed myself in front of senior sister Nan. I haven't seen much of the world. It's really much more beautiful than our village." The face of the housekeeper, who was leading the way, twitched. He cursed in his heart, "Country bumpkin." This housekeeper wasn't leading Nan Shi and Yang Wu to their manor head's residence. Instead, he was leading them to a remote mountain range. That was the Luo clan's forbidden area. It was the old manor head's quiet place. Normal people weren't allowed to come here. The people of the Luo Manor watched as the housekeeper led Nan, Shi, and Yang Wu in that direction. They were all astonished. When they saw the symbol embroidered on Nan Shi's clothes, they suddenly understood. When they were about to reach the forbidden area, the housekeeper said, "Young Lady Nan, the old manor head only wants to see you." "You see," Nanshi frowned and said, "He's my junior brother. Young Lady Nan, don't make things difficult for me." The housekeeper revealed a troubled expression. Nanshi hesitated for a moment. She looked at Yang Wu and said, "Junior brother Wu, just wait for me here." Yang Wu nodded indifferently and said, "Okay." The housekeeper led Nanshi a few steps. He turned around and said, "Don't wander off." Yang Wu was stunned for a moment and said, "Don't worry, I won't wander off." He really didn't know why the housekeeper would say that. However, Nanshi felt it clearly. She cursed in her heart, "You're a snob." This housekeeper was still afraid that Yang Wu would wander off and break their Luo Manor's rules. He might even destroy their Luo Manor's flowers and plants. Yang Wu felt that this housekeeper was quite interesting. He only smiled. He didn't take the housekeeper's words to heart. He simply sat down and cultivated. This shouldn't affect him much, right? In the end, he got into trouble again. Nanshi followed the housekeeper to a simple wooden house on the mountain. The housekeeper said respectfully, "Old manor head, young lady Nan is here, and let her come in." A response came from the wooden house. The housekeeper left quietly, leaving only Nanshi. Nanshi walked over. An elder walked out of the wooden house. She quickly walked forward and bowed. "Nanshi greets Elder Luo." "No need for formalities," the elder said amiably. This was a tall and sturdy elder. He wore a navy blue robe. His hair was short and his face was resolute. Time didn't leave too many traces on his face. He had his hands behind his back. It was as if he was carrying the sun and the moon. There was an invisible aura that could swallow mountains and rivers. He was a Luo clan's old manor head, Luo Tianming. He was also the Luo clan's stabilizing force. I already know why you're here. I can give you the quota. However, whether you can gain anything will depend on your luck. Luo Tianming went straight to the point. Nancy was overjoyed and said, "Thank you, Elder Luo. Don't be in a hurry to thank me. I'll give you the quota. However, your master must also send a batch of true god pills for our Luo clan. Otherwise, don't think of opening the back door for me in the future." Yes. My master also said that she has always remembered your kindness. If it wasn't for you, she wouldn't be where she is today. And that's more like it. That place is more dangerous. It will open in half a month. With your strength, it will be very dangerous. Nenshi knows. Elder Luo, I still have a junior brother. He's an Emperor Realm sacred pharmacist. Can you? Before Nanshi could finish, Luo Tianming looked down and saw through layers of obstacles. He said, "Is it the kid sitting below?" Nanshi turned around and looked down. Her beautiful eyes widened and her face instantly paled. She shouted in shock, "I'm going to stop him right now. No hurry. Let's see how far he can go first." Luo Tianming waved his hand and said, where Yang Wu was, waves of water turned into dragons and surged towards him. 10,000 dragons. Such a phenomenon instantly alarmed the people of the Luo clan, especially the housekeeper who was guarding nearby. After seeing this scene, his eyes almost popped out. "I told you not to act recklessly. This country bumpkin deserves to be killed." The housekeeper scolded angrily. Just as he was about to stop Yang Wu, a force enveloped him, preventing him from moving. A voice fell into his ears, scaring him so much that he didn't dare to move. It's over. We've alarmed the old mansion master." The housekeeper's face was ashen. The people of the Luo clan nearby all looked in the direction of Yang Wu. Their expressions changed. Why is the Luo River in our clan moving? Is the old mansion master cultivating? It doesn't seem like it. The old mansion master doesn't need to do that. There seems to be a young man sitting cross-legged on the mountain. Could it be the old mansion master's disciple? The Luo River is the foundation of our Luo clan. It contains the will of our ancestors. Not just anyone can absorb its power. Who is that young man? There are only a few people in our Luo clan who can absorb the power of the Luo River. Every one of them has comprehended the Luo River martial way. It seems that this young man has also comprehended it. However, he doesn't look like someone from our Luo clan. Quickly find out who he is. At that moment, Yang Wu was also helpless. He did not know what had happened. He only wanted to use the limited time he had to cultivate. However, just as he was circulating the supreme 9 mysteries formula, a power suddenly recovered in his dantian. That power was the power of the divine chains that he had unintentionally absorbed in the Taiping Temple in the divine firmament battlefield. It was the way of the Luo River. The power of the divine chains was branded in his dantian. He could not activate them even if he wanted to. He had always thought that it was because he was not strong enough and could not activate them. Or perhaps his understanding of the martial way was not enough. So he could not activate the divine chains for his own use. Now, when he was cultivating in the Luo clan, the power of the divine chains was actually activated. In an instant, countless waves flew out from the river in the Luo clan and gathered towards him. These waves turned into dragons and crazily crashed into the power of his divine chains. The divine chains came to life. The martial arts contained within the divine chains instantly began to circulate in Yang Wu's mind. Every move and stance of the Luo water spear art was grand and powerful, stirring up the rivers. Immediately, the heavens and earth changed color. Countless waves, one higher than the previous one, formed a water prison, sealing the heavens and earth. Yang Wu danced along with the martial Tao of the divine chains. Every move he made was like a dragon, full of might. At that moment, he felt as if he could use the power of the divine chains. It was the martial way contained in the power of the Luo River that had completely replenished his way of the Luo River spear technique. Only then could he fuse with the power of the divine chains and use their power. Chapter 1637. The power of the divine chains was the condensed essence of a true god expert's martial path. Every divine chain represented a type of martial path, and what Yang Wu had obtained was the power of the Luo water spearway. And this was the Luo manner, so there was a definite connection between the two. Otherwise, there would not have been such a commotion. Yang Wu didn't know the key point, so he caused such a commotion that a large number of people from the Luo manor rushed over. Some people wanted to stop Yang Wu, but a voice stopped them. The people of the Luo manor were wondering if this young man was the disciple of their old manor master. Among them, Luo Zhuanglei, Luo Muxin, and Luo Fahai also saw the commotion caused by Yang Wu from afar. They were all surprised. Why is this kid here? Why is he with the old manor master? Luo Zhuanglei was very confused. He had seen Yang Wu before, and he was only a sacred medicine alchemist. How could he be qualified to enter the Luo manor and even go to their old manor master's place? It's him. Are alchemists also proficient in the Tao of water? Luo Muxin was surprised. Luo Fahai said, maybe he has the water and fire divine body, but he's not from the Luo manor. How could he trigger the will of the Luo water? You and I couldn't cause such a commotion. Why do I feel like he's like someone? Luo Muxin said. Who? The guy in true God Yu Yan's tomb. It's him? Elder Luo, I didn't know he would do this. Nancy felt wronged. She thought highly of Yang Wu, so she brought him to the Luo manor to let him see the world. At the same time, she gave him a chance to enter the Pill Furnace secret realm. She didn't know that Yang Wu would cause such a commotion and even trigger the Luo River in the Luo manor. That was the foundation of the Luo manor's existence. Interesting. Luo Tianming squinted his old eyes and looked at Yang Wu. Yang Wu continued to use the spear technique and gradually moved towards the Luo River in the center of the Luo manor. The Luo River was an important cultivation ground in the Luo manor. Most of the cultivators cultivated by its banks. It ran through the entire Luo manor, and no one knew where it came from or where it ended. It directly pierced into the void. The people from the Luo manor looked at Yang Wu, who was flying through the air and brandishing their ancestral spear techniques. Their faces were filled with astonishment as they exclaimed in their hearts, "This guy is too daring." The water of the Luo River contained the martial will of the Luo clan's ancestor. To be more precise, it contained the power of the divine chains. Usually, anyone who approached the surface of the river would be killed by the power of the divine chains. And whoever could comprehend the power of the divine chains here would receive special training. For a long time, there were very few geniuses who could comprehend the water of the Luo River. Among the younger generation in their manor, only Luo Muxin and Luo Fahai had barely comprehended a little. Only a few people in the divine realm could do so. Now, an unfamiliar young man had appeared in their clan's land and stirred up the water of the Luo River to comprehend the power of the divine chains. It was like a slap to their faces. Who was this person? They couldn't wait to tear him apart. Yang Wu landed on the Luo River. He gained more and more understanding of the Luo River's spear technique. The power of the divine chains he contained merged with one of the original divine chains here, forming a new divine chain power. The power he blasted out was even more domineering and terrifying. Even a divine realm creature would be easily killed by his battle spear. In addition, a large amount of the Luo River's power crazily poured into his body. His strength was also increasing crazily. Benefits come with water. Someone had once said this to him, and now it had come true once again. The 1,000 holes in Yang Wu's dantian were contracting as boundless water energy gathered inside. Very quickly, it was converted into an incomparably pure energy. In addition, a large amount of Luo River entered his kidneys, strengthening them. His immortal root energy was also being replenished. The immortal immortality peach tree was also secretly absorbing some of the energy. All in all, Yang Wu's overall strength had improved. After an unknown amount of time, Yang Wu was pushed away by the water of the Luo River after he had completely merged with the power of the divine chains. He had restored the original divine chain's power, and the Luo River spear technique was completely formed. He had gained a lot. Not only was he not happy, but he also muttered as if he had lost his parents. This time, I'm in big trouble. Someone jumped in the air and shouted, "Who are you? How dare you steal the Luo clan's martial way?" This person's aura was shocking. He was a mid-level divine realm expert, and not an ordinary one. He was a martial god expert. His name was Luo Ji, and he was one of the best in the younger generation of the Luo clan. Yang Wu scratched the back of his head and laughed dryly. Would you believe me if I said I didn't do it on purpose? Even he did not believe his own words. How could he expect others to believe him? Surrender, and you'll be spared from physical pain, Luo Ji said in a low voice. As he spoke, he reached out a blue hand and grabbed at Yang Wu. He was indeed a martial god expert. A casual attack from him had the power to threaten a high-level divine realm expert. The entire space was covered by his hand. It would not be easy for Yang Wu to dodge. Yang Wu retreated and shouted, "Senior Sister Nan, save me." In this place, the only one who could save him was Nan Shi. If even Nan Shi could not save him, he was dead meat. This was the Luo clan's territory. He could not escape even if he wanted to. He was sure that in such a large force, it was impossible that there were no true god experts. Luo Ji was surprised that his attack missed. He increased his strength again and grabbed at Yang Wu. The space was under his control. Even a fly could not escape. He was sure that he could catch Yang Wu. The binding power of this space was indeed very strong, but it was still unable to bind Yang Wu. Once again, he dodged and dashed towards Nan Shi's direction. He did not believe that Nan Shi would ignore him. The steward was finally angry. He shouted, "Capture the thief." Besides him, the other members of the Luo clan also wanted to take action. They did not want Yang Wu to jump around. Before he could do anything, Luo Ji said, "You don't have to do anything. I'll do it." In the next moment, he was serious. Luo River Heavenly Palm. He seemed to have turned into a Luo River and slapped at Yang Wu with a torrential palm intent. The domineering power was several times stronger than before. He wanted to beat Yang Wu to the ground with one palm. Yang Wu felt the power of Luo Ji's move. The space to escape was squeezed. He could not avoid it and could only raise his fist to fight back. Bang! Yang Wu had used a straight punch. In the shortest amount of time, he had exploded with the greatest amount of power, forcefully blocking Luo Ji's palm. However, he had been knocked back hundreds of meters, and his arm had become slightly numb. So strong, Yang Wu exclaimed in his heart. He felt that Luo Ji was at least close to the combat power of a top-tier divine realm expert. Otherwise, he would not have been able to send him flying in an instant. Luo Ji was more surprised than him. He had used most of his strength, but he could not hurt Yang Wu. He could not help but wonder if Yang Wu was hiding his strength. He did not think too deeply and continued to attack. The palm prints were like waves that covered the sky and the earth as they blasted towards Yang Wu. The people of Luo Manor were watching not far away. They could not help but exclaim, "Elder Ji's strength has improved even more. He can easily kill that little thief with a single strike." How did that little thief come in? We have to find out. Wait until Elder Ji takes him down. No matter how he came in, if it has nothing to do with our Luo Manor, we will kill him without mercy. I think after this round, that little thief will be smashed into meat paste. The people of Luo Manor thought that Yang Wu would be easily taken down. However, they were surprised very quickly. After Yang Wu was pushed back repeatedly, he could determine the difference between him and Luo Ji. He could only protect himself if he activated the power of the immortal root. He even felt that he could not win even if he used the power of the immortal root. Luo Ji must have not used all his trump cards. Then I will use the power of the God Chain. Yang Wu shouted and activated the complete power of the God Chain. A war spear drew out a river wave. The surging wave turned into a dragon and charged towards Luo Ji. The power of the God Chain contained the power of a true god. Even if it was only a trace, it could cause a headache. Luo Ji's eyes narrowed. He used all his strength to resist the power of the God Chain. Luo Ji's body flashed with blue light. He sent out palm prints that covered the sky. Each palm print contained the power of martial arts and was extremely powerful. Rumble, rumble. The two of them fought fiercely. After Yang Wu activated the power of the God Chain, his explosive power was close to the top of the divine realm. After Luo Ji used all his strength, he was also extraordinary. The title of martial god was not given for nothing. It was a title that could only be obtained by fighting above 2 levels. The two of them fought back and forth. Neither of them could do anything to the other. If it had been any other mid-level divine realm creature, Yang Wu's God Chain could have easily killed him. It was the same for Luo Ji. Any Saint Realm creature was like an ant in his hands. However, Yang Wu not only blocked his attack, but was also on par with him. No matter what Yang Wu relied on, he deserved to be treated seriously. At that moment, another divine realm expert rushed over and shouted, "Luo Ji, you are too useless. Let me take him down." An earth-shattering fist blasted towards Yang Wu without saying a word. He did not give Yang Wu any chance to recover. This person's strength was not inferior to Luo Ji's. He was even more domineering. Yang Wu's reaction was amazing. He waved his war spear and blocked the person's attack with a divine dragon tail whip. At that moment, Luo Ji could have taken the opportunity to cause some damage to Yang Wu. However, he stopped and said, "Luo Ji, this is my battle. Get out of my way. Those who offend the Luo residents are our common enemies. If you can't take him down, leave him to me." The person called Luo Ji replied. This person's strength was not inferior to Luo Ji's. They were both martial gods. His attacks were much more ferocious than Luo Ji's. It was not that he was stronger than Luo Ji, but his martial art style was just like that. He was determined to kill his enemy, and timid people would be scared out of their wits. Luo Ji replied as he continued to attack Yang Wu. Every move was fatal. Yang Wu was annoyed. He shouted, "Stop wasting time. Come at me together." Chapter 1638. Luo Ji and Luo Ji were both martial gods. They were the most outstanding people among the younger generation in the Luo residence. Yang Wu wanted to fight against the two of them, which shocked everyone in the Luo family. Even if Yang Wu could use a trace of the power of the divine chains, he might not be able to defeat them. Why was he so confident? Moreover, they saw that the 12 star patterns on Yang Wu's body had not condensed into the shape of a moon. He was clearly still in the Saint Realm. How could he use the power of the divine chains and be so powerful? Luo Muxin, Luo Fahai, and the other divine physiques found it unbelievable. Even if they unleashed the power of their divine physiques, they could not be compared to the two martial gods. How did Yang Wu do it? "You talk big. I'll suppress you," Luo Ji shouted and punched at Yang Wu. Luo River Overlord Fist. Most of the Luo residence's battle techniques were comprehended from the water of the Luo River. It was very unique to the family. These ferocious attacks were heaven-shaking, like a waterfall pouring down, and also like a roaring river, drowning Yang Wu within. Yang Wu knew that it was difficult to escape, so he completely let go of his hands and feet. He raised his battle spear and used the power of the divine chains to activate the power of the divine chains. The extremely domineering divine chains formed the Luo River and smashed down on Luo Ji. Bang! Bang! Yang Wu used his immortal power to activate the divine chains. The power of the divine chains became extremely domineering. It was even more terrifying than Luo Ji's fist. Luo Ji's fist force was shattered on the spot. Luo Ji was shocked and went into a defensive position. However, he was still sent flying by Yang Wu's attack. Luo Ji watched coldly from the side and did not interfere. As martial gods, they had their own pride. How could they join forces with others to deal with an opponent weaker than them? This was true even if his opponent had the power of the God Chain. However, Yang Wu did not give Yang Wu the chance to watch. He thrust his battle spear at Luo Ji. The sharp spear light was like a dragon's roar. The rolling waves broke through layers of space and arrived before Luo Ji in the blink of an eye. Luo Ji reacted quickly. A shield appeared in his hand and blocked Yang Wu's attack. However, he was also sent flying by Yang Wu's terrifying power. "Come at me together, or you won't be my match." Yang Wu had entered a state of madness. He kept waving his battle spear, and the power of the divine chains was fully unleashed. Streams of water dragons formed into the shape of the Luo River, enveloping Luo Qi and Luo Ji, trying to suppress them both. How dare you be so arrogant in my Luo Manor's territory? How presumptuous! Luo Qi roared. A battle halberd appeared in his hand. The power of the surroundings was mobilized. It was as if the king of the sea had descended. The battle halberd was thrown at Yang Wu. Luo Qi no longer stood by the side. Since Yang Wu was so provocative, how could he endure it? Brandishing his battle spear, a gigantic sea demon appeared, riding on the waves as it flew over. This gigantic sea demon was actually a gigantic whale that seemed capable of devouring the entire ocean. The two martial gods attacked at the same time. With an earth-shattering sound, blue light shone in the sky of the Luo Manor, attracting everyone in the manor. At this moment, a formation was activated and protected some of the important places in the Luo Manor, preventing the power from spreading to those places. It also allowed the three of them to fight without restraint. Regardless of whether Yang Wu won or lost, the news of him defeating two martial gods by himself was enough to make him famous. A martial sage could defeat two martial gods. This was not something a martial sage could do. Even a super martial sage did not have this ability. He could be called an ultimate martial sage. Only the title of ultimate was worthy of such a warrior. In the human world, Yang Wu could be described with the word ultimate. In the divine world, it could be used now. He had improved by one level compared to when he was in the transcendent world. He had stepped into the last step of the Star Rune realm. Now, he could use the power of the divine chains. He was indeed incomparably domineering. He seemed to be waving the Luo River as he fought with the two martial gods. Not only was he not defeated, he even had the upper hand. Every spear move of his contained the perfect Tao of the Luo River. They could form a river, a dragon, or an explosive wave. The power was simply too terrifying. The two martial gods also used their trump cards. One was a sea king splitting the sky, and the other was a divine whale swallowing the sky. The terrifying destructive power was not something an ordinary top divine realm expert could compare to. With the two of them, they were actually unable to take down Yang Wu. They felt that it was too embarrassing. They did not think that Yang Wu could be so invincible just by using the power of the divine chains. It was because Yang Wu's foundation was too strong that they could not take him down for a long time. Fortunately, they could afford it. They did not believe that Yang Wu's power could be endless. When his power was exhausted, it would be time for them to slaughter him. Who is he? Why is he so powerful? Our Luo Manor has two martial gods. No matter where they are superior. They actually can't take down this outsider. Is this an illusion? The power of the divine chains of a true god is indeed terrifying. If the two lords can comprehend the power of the divine chains, they can also take him down quickly. I really don't believe that this person is only in the Star Rune realm. He might be a martial god expert. On top of the Forbidden Mountain, Luo Tianming and Nan Shi witnessed this scene. The former had a playful expression, while the latter had a shocked expression. They did not know how to describe Yang Wu anymore. After seeing Yang Wu refine pills, Nan Shi felt that Yang Wu was extraordinary. She accepted him as a disciple on behalf of her master. She left such an outstanding genius in their lineage. She was afraid that Yang Wu would be snatched away by other alchemists after he went to the Medicine God Palace. Now, she felt that she could not see through Yang Wu. Alchemists usually cultivated fire xianqi, but Yang Wu was also proficient in water xianqi. This was not the most shocking part. What shocked her the most was that Yang Wu's combat strength was too abnormal. She had also stepped into the Jade Moon realm, but she knew that she was not a match for the two martial gods of the Luo clan. However, Yang Wu could fight them alone and even fight to a draw. This was too terrifying. Is he really just an emperor-level alchemist? Luo Tianming asked Nan Shi. A few days ago, he was tested. Nan Shi answered truthfully. You only tested him to refine divine pills, so you concluded that he was an emperor-level alchemist. If you tested him to refine divine pills, he might be more than that. Luo Tianming said with certainty. You're saying that he's already a divine alchemist? Nanshi asked back. It's pretty close. This kid is amazing, Luo Tianming praised. His eyes were filled with admiration. If the disciples of the Luo clan heard Luo Tianming's exaggeration, they would probably fly into the sky. This old mansion lord did not praise people easily. Nanshi could not wrap her head around it. This junior brother was so good at hiding his strength. Could it be that he had a great background? Or was he a spy from another faction? At this moment, the battle was still white-hot. Yang Wu's immortal energy was almost completely digested. He kept on absorbing energy, but there was no time to replenish it. If this continued, he would be beaten down by the two sooner or later. Each wave of their attacks was stronger than the last. If it wasn't for the protection of the divine chains, he would have been killed on the spot. You can't hold on anymore. Quickly surrender, and we can leave your corpse intact. Luo Qi said loudly. Haha, naive. Yang Wu laughed wildly. A drop of immortal liquid was quietly refined in his body. The power of his immortal foundation was quickly replenished. His battle strength was once again at its peak. He waved his battle spear and divine chains in all directions. The battle caused the sky to collapse and the earth to split. The two martial gods were forced to retreat. Their expressions changed greatly. They clearly felt that Yang Wu's power was declining. How did he recover so quickly? The two of them were really angry. They activated their own innate powers and divine weapons. They had to suppress Yang Wu. Otherwise, they would lose face. Just as they were about to enter a life-and-death battle, a power descended on them and restrained them. A faint voice rang out. All right, let's end it here. Disperse. This was Luo Tianming's voice. Everyone in the Luo residence had to obey. After bowing in his direction, they dispersed. Although they were curious about Yang Wu's identity, they did not have the courage to pursue him. They believed that there would be news about him soon. Who exactly was this young man? Why was he so abnormal? Seeing the two martial gods leave unwillingly, Yang Wu heaved a long sigh of relief. He was really afraid that if they continued to waste time like this, he might not be able to completely block them when they decided to kill him. In the face of absolute strength, even if he had a true divine weapon, it would only be a dead end. Yang Wu returned to his original place. The housekeeper looked at him with eyes that were about to spit fire. He clearly said that he was not allowed to move around. Why didn't this brat listen? Sorry, I really didn't do it on purpose. Yang Wu apologized to the housekeeper. The housekeeper was so angry that he didn't know what to say. If it wasn't for the fact that the old residence lord didn't allow him to make a move, he really wanted to slap this brat to death. Don't think that he was just a housekeeper. His strength was not inferior to the two martial gods. He was even stronger than them. He belonged to the category of experts who didn't show their true strength. Let him come up together. Luo Tianming's voice rang out again. Thus, Yang Wu was invited to the mountain. Yang Wu was very surprised. He had accidentally touched the inheritance of the divine chain, but the other party was still so friendly to him. Could it be that his character was off the charts? Or was his senior sister so capable? Or was it that after he went up, the other party would deal with him personally? Yang Wu braced himself and went to the wooden house. He bowed to Luo Tianming as a junior and didn't say anything else. He felt that Luo Tianming seemed to have merged with heaven and earth. He was one with heaven and earth at all times. He was definitely a very terrifying expert. He couldn't speak carelessly. If he said something wrong, he might die. Nanshi glared at Yang Wu fiercely. She didn't know what to say to him. She more or less regretted bringing Yang Wu to the Luo clan. Luo Tianming looked at Yang Wu and asked calmly, You're not from the Luo clan, but you've learned our Luo water spear technique. You even comprehended the power of the divine chain. Where did you get the inheritance? Yang Wu didn't dare to hide anything. He told him everything about how he had obtained the inheritance in the divine firmament battlefield. So you're the successor of Taiping. In the future, you can consider yourself a guest of the Luo clan. Chapter 1639. Yang Wu and Nan, she were dumbfounded. Yang Wu had just arrived at the Luo residence and caused such a huge commotion. Not only did Luo Tianming not punish Yang Wu, he even allowed Yang Wu to be a guest of the Luo residence. What was the reason for this? Was this a trap that fell from the sky? The Luo residence was more powerful than the 9 divine clans and the Grass Moon Hall. It was the overlord of the Luo prefecture. Not everyone could be a guest of the Luo residence, let alone Luo Tianming himself. This was a very important position. Even the current chief of the Luo residence had to pay attention to it. Yang Wu didn't know how to respond. When he entered the Luo residence and saw this small world, he knew how great the Luo residence was. He never thought of becoming a guest of the Luo residence. Now that the opportunity was in front of him, he didn't know how to respond. You don't want to? Luo Tianming saw that Yang Wu didn't answer and asked again. Yang Wu quickly replied, No, I want to. I want to. He was already a guest of the Grass Moon Hall and the 9 divine clans. It didn't matter if he had another identity. Anyway, he didn't have to do much and could get benefits for free. Why wouldn't he want to? However, he didn't understand why Luo Tianming did this. He had touched the taboo of the Luo residence. The people of the Luo residence should only hate him. Why would they allow him to be a part of the Luo residence? He naturally didn't understand. Even Nanshi didn't understand Luo Tianming's actions. Let the housekeeper report your information later. They will talk to you about the guest salary. You also need to do something for the Luo residence. Don't disappoint me. Luo Tianming looked deeply at Yang Wu and said. Yang Wu felt as if he was stripped naked in front of Luo Tianming and was seen through to his bones. Yang Wu cupped his hands and said, Thank you for your kindness. I, Wu Ho, am not an ungrateful person. After such a thing happened, he panicked. You should be grateful that Luo Tianming didn't pursue the matter. This wasn't the transcendent world. When he had enough power one day, he wouldn't need to be so cautious. I can see that you're a pretty good little fellow, Luo Tianming said with a smile. Then he said to Nanshi, You and him will each take one spot. Your debt will be on your master's head, and his debt will be paid by himself. Is this okay? Nanshi asked in surprise. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll get someone to arrange it for you. Just wait patiently. Luo Tianming waved his hand. Nanshi pulled Yang Wu along as they bowed to express their gratitude. Then they went down together. Luo Tianming looked at Yang Wu's back view with an inexplicable look in his eyes. He said with melancholy in his heart, Great Emperor, are you back? Yang Wu was dragged out of the Luo Manor's forbidden grounds by Nanshi and followed the housekeeper to the residence arranged for them. For the time being, they wouldn't be leaving this place. They still needed to obtain a spot to enter the Pill Furnace Mystic Realm. After the housekeeper ordered the servants to prepare a banquet for the two of them, he glared at Yang Wu and left. The Luo Manor didn't arrange for anyone else to accompany them because their identities were a little special. It wasn't appropriate for anyone to accompany them since they were meeting the old manor master directly. This seemed to be neglecting them, but in fact it was already giving them the best treatment. Was the old manor master someone that just anyone could meet? Wu Ho, tell me honestly, what's your cultivation and rank as an alchemist? Where's the inheritance? If you hide anything, I'll get the hall to revoke your identity. Don't doubt me. Nanshi approached Yang Wu and asked. Her figure was petite, but her chest was very perky. It was almost in front of Yang Wu. Her anger was also quite frightening. As a divine rank expert, which one of them was weak? Yang Wu was afraid that Nanshi's weapon would hit him. He moved back slightly and replied, Senior sister, do you suspect that I'm harmful to the Medicine God Palace? You have too many secrets. I can't help but suspect you. Nanshi said seriously. Yang Wu took a deep breath and looked at her. I didn't mean to hide anything. I only participated in the Medicine God Palace's test once and successfully passed it. You all think that I'm a saint alchemist, but in reality, I'm already a divine alchemist. However, my realm is still in the Star Rune realm. Then why didn't you say so earlier? Would you believe me if I said so earlier? Nanshi didn't know how to refute. Indeed, Yang Wu was only in the Star Rune realm. If he told them that he was a divine alchemist, not many would believe him. Although there were many geniuses who could refine divine alchemists in the Sage realm, they still wouldn't believe that Yang Wu was such a person. Then where did you learn from? Didn't I tell you earlier? Everything you said must be fake. It's up to you to believe it or not. Anyway, I'm just a person who wants to join the Medicine God Palace and learn more alchemy. I also want to have a place where I can stay. Yang Wu didn't want to reveal the truth. Now wasn't the time. Once his identity was exposed, they would quickly connect him to the true God Spear, and trouble would come knocking on his door. He felt a lingering fear after causing so much trouble in the Luo Manor. If Luo Tianming didn't like him, he could have killed him on the spot. Nancy saw that Yang Wu still didn't want to reveal his situation and couldn't do anything about it. Moreover, Luo Tianming was willing to let him become a guest elder of the Luo Manor, so she was more or less relieved. At least it proved that Yang Wu wasn't a bad person. I brought you to the Luo Manor this time to help you fight for a spot in the Pill Furnace Secret Realm. You almost ruined it, so you have to compensate me for this. Nancy could only change the topic. Her angry look was very cute and moving, especially her swaying chest. It made people's thoughts wander. Yang Wu asked, "What is the Pill Furnace Secret Realm? You haven't heard of it?" "No." "All right. It seems like you really came from the village." The Pill Furnace Secret Realm is an ancient ruin in the Luo Prefecture. Legend has it that the place where the immortal furnace fell formed a secret realm. It contains the inheritance that we alchemists dream of. This secret realm only opens once in a while. At that time, all the top alchemists in the Luo Prefecture will gather. However, the quota is limited and not everyone can enter. Especially alchemists from outside the Luo Prefecture, they are not allowed to enter. Master ordered me to ask for a quota from that lord, but I didn't have much hope. Who knew that the old man would be so easy to talk to? Not only did he give me a quota, he also gave you a quota. It's really a stroke of luck. Nancy explained. The place where the immortal furnace fell? Yang Wu wiped away his astonishment. He didn't think that such a place existed in the God realm. Yes, we might be able to obtain some inheritance from there. Master gained something from that secret realm and became a true God alchemist. Therefore, we must seize this opportunity. Nancy said excitedly. "Can I not go?" Yang Wu replied weakly. He really didn't want to dampen Nancy's enthusiasm, but he couldn't help but speak his mind. He didn't want to stay in the Luo Prefecture any longer. He only wanted to go to the Medicine God Palace's main hall and quickly establish a foothold. Then, he would use the identity of the Medicine God Palace's disciple to look for Zuu. At the same time, he would also find out which faction destroyed the Heaven Palace and avenge the Heaven Palace. "What did you say? You don't want to go?" Nancy raised her voice and asked. "Cough, cough, I don't really want to go," Yang Wu said embarrassedly. He really didn't have much interest in the inheritance of alchemists. Did he not have a lot of inheritance? The inheritance that Little Hay gave him, the inheritance that the Bronze Cauldron gave him, they were all immortal-level inheritance techniques. That definitely wouldn't be any worse than the Pill Furnace Secret Realm. Do you want to die? Do you know how many alchemists want this quota, but can't? You actually don't want to go? Could it be that you think your alchemy skills are unparalleled? Do you know what an immortal alchemist is? They're the real supreme existences. They can refine the immortality Dan, they can refine the eternal immortal Dan, and so on. If you can learn a little bit from them, you could be unrivaled in the world. You actually don't want to. What kind of bullshit is in your head? Then she completely exploded. She hated Yang Wu for failing to live up to her expectations. Yang Wu didn't know how to respond. If he said that he didn't want to go, it would obviously be inappropriate. Nancy took a deep breath and calmed herself down. She then said, "All right, if you don't want to go, give up your quota. I can casually auction it for a sky-high price. You don't care about the immortal flames, immortal pill techniques, or even many unexpected immortal items. I heard that a kind of profound essence chi has appeared this time. It has already attracted the attention of many people, so there will be more people going this time." "What? There's profound essence chi?" Yang Wu exclaimed. "What? Are you also interested in the profound essence chi?" Nancy glanced at Yang Wu and asked. "Hee, who wouldn't be interested in the profound essence chi?" Yang Wu laughed. "I advise you to stop dreaming. That kind of power is not something that anyone can touch." Nancy said unhappily. She paused for a moment and then said, "That's true. You are now strong, so you might be able to compete." Then I will accompany senior sister when the time comes. Yang Wu became incomparably excited. The profound essence Qi was the power that he had been searching for. Go or not, Nancy said unhappily. She turned around and went back to her room to rest. Yang Wu revealed a bitter smile. He knew that his words just now were too disappointing. He also wanted to go back to his room. Suddenly, someone came to visit. After Yang Wu saw the person, his gaze became somewhat unfriendly. Brother Wu Ho, little sister specially came to apologize to you. I beg you to forgive little sister. Luo Xiangxiang cried like a pear blossom in the rain. She threw herself at Yang Wu and begged. Yang Wu quickly dodged and replied, "What do you want?" Luo Xiangxiang knelt down on the spot and said, "Little sister sincerely came to apologize to you. As long as you are willing to forgive me, I will do whatever you want me to do." Finished speaking, she threw a lovely look at Yang Wu. The clothes on her shoulders quietly fell down, revealing her tender skin. It was quite attractive. This honey trap was quite skillful. "You don't need to do this. Our matter has already been resolved," Yang Wu replied. Then can you say a few words for me in front of the supervisor? I can't lose my status as an inner sect disciple. Otherwise, I will die. Wu Wu, if you knew this would happen, you wouldn't have done it. Chapter 1640. Yang Wu didn't sympathize with Luo Xiangxiang. She hadn't even become a phoenix, yet she was already doing things that even a phoenix wouldn't do. She was too snobbish and bullied the weak. If it wasn't for his ability, he would have already been eliminated from the alchemy test. Hua Shenxi was the best example. Even if she was a member of the Luo clan, he didn't plan to give her any face. Everything would be handled by the Medicine God Palace. Luo Xiangxiang left Yang Wu's place in a daze. Although she hated Yang Wu to the core, she couldn't do anything to him. How could she dare to deal with someone who was favored by their old mansion head? However, this seed of hatred was planted in her heart. If there was a chance to add insult to injury, she definitely wouldn't let it go. Very quickly, the Luo clan sent over 3 tokens. 2 of them were jade tokens to enter the Pill Furnace Secret Realm. With these tokens, one could enter the Pill Furnace Secret Realm. Furthermore, each token allowed one to bring along 2 protectors. After all, entering the Pill Furnace Secret Realm was fraught with danger. The various great alchemists would also have conflicts. Without protectors, it wouldn't be easy for alchemists to obtain good opportunities. These 2 protector slots were very valuable. The other token was the Luo clan's Guest Elder token. It was given to Yang Wu. With this Guest Elder token, Yang Wu could move freely within the Luo clan city. In times of danger, he could even mobilize the Luo clan's forces to help him. The Luo clan's Guest Elder token was only given to those loose cultivators who were especially powerful or those who were extremely outstanding in other professions. Even if Yang Wu was an emperor-level sacred alchemist, he didn't seem to have the qualifications to receive their Guest Elder token. However, the ultimate martial saint strength he displayed made him qualified. The people of the Luo clan didn't have any reason to object. Nanshi, as a divine tier alchemist, couldn't receive the Luo clan's Guest Elder token. This was enough to explain everything. Nanshi was still a little jealous. This doesn't make sense. He stole the power of someone else's divine chain. Not only did he not get beaten to death, he even became a Guest Elder. The world has changed. Yang Wu smiled and said to Nanshi, "I'll remember senior sister's kindness towards me. If I have a piece of meat to eat, I'll share half with you." Even though Nanshi didn't do much for him, he was still very grateful to her. This was a woman who truly treated him as a junior brother. Nanshi gave him a thumbs up and said, "Yes, you said it. If you can't do it, I'll expel you from the sect." Yang Wu nodded with a smile, officially treating Nanshi as a senior sister. With Nanshi's status, there were countless people begging her to be their senior sister. Yang Wu had to weigh the pros and cons. Wasn't he being too arrogant? In fact, this had nothing to do with whether he was arrogant or not. The main reason was that Yang Wu was still quite vigilant. When he was outside, he could not afford to be careless. Jianghu was a dangerous place. After Nanshi and Yang Wu achieved their goal, they quietly waited for the Luo Manor's people to go to the Pill Furnace Secret Realm. The Luo Manor's people mainly cultivated water xianqi, but there were also cultivators who cultivated other xianqi. For example, Luo Xiangxiang cultivated fire xianqi and became an alchemist. This time, the Luo clan had a total of 8 people going to the Pill Furnace Secret Realm. Originally, they had a total of 10 spots, but in the end, Nan Shi and Yang Wu took 2 spots. Some people were full of resentment towards the 2 of them. They could only be angry, but did not dare to say anything. This was the old Manor Lord's wish. Who would dare to say no? Among the 8 spots, there were 5 divine alchemists and 3 saint alchemists. They were all important members of the Luo clan. Other than these 8 people, there were 16 experts who would escort them. Among them, Luo Ji, Luo Qi, Luo Muxin, Luo Fahai, and the others would go together. Luo Xiangxiang was stripped of her saint alchemist position because she offended Yang Wu. However, she could go with Luo Zhuanglei as a protector. This was also an opportunity that Luo Zhuanglei begged for. After all, the 2 of them were from the same faction, and Luo Xiangxiang still had her important value. These people would compete with the other alchemists in the Luo Prefecture for the Pill Furnace Secret Realm. As the largest alchemist organization, the Medicine God Temple did not have the opportunity to have a spot in the Luo Prefecture. The Pill Furnace Secret Realm was a wonderful place to cultivate alchemists in the Luo Prefecture. If the Medicine God Temple was given a spot, it would be even more difficult for them to produce outstanding alchemists. Yang Wu and Nan Shi also brought 2 protectors with them. The former brought Qi Jin and Buling, while the latter brought 2 experts from the Medicine God Temple. One was the divine alchemist Lu Xiaogong, and the other was the top divine alchemist Tai Tai Bai. A total of 30 people went to the Pill Furnace Secret Realm. Although they were few in number, their strength was tyrannical. Especially since they were in the Luo Prefecture's territory, no one dared to have any ideas about them. On the way, Luo Ji and Luo Qi glanced at Yang Wu from time to time. Their eyes were still filled with a strong sense of unwillingness. Both of them were martial god-level experts, only slightly older than Luo Muxin and Luo Fahai. Their battle prowess was extraordinary, yet they could not take down an alchemist. They felt very unbalanced. If they had the chance, they wanted to fight with Yang Wu again. Yang Wu sat cross-legged on the war chariot with his eyes closed. He did not pay attention to them and quietly comprehended the power of the God Chain. Although he could use the God Chain's power, he could only use the tip of the iceberg. Every time he comprehended it, it would bring great benefits to his martial path. It would also be beneficial for him to break through the Jade Moon realm and even the True God realm in the future. The God Chain's power contained the martial will of a true God. It needed to be carefully comprehended. In addition, he was looking forward to finding the Xian Essence Qi this time. If that was the case, his strength could increase in a short period of time. Even if it did not increase, his cultivation speed would be faster. It was all benefits and no harm. The Alchemy Furnace Mystic Realm was located in the middle of the Alchemy Furnace Plain. Originally, this was just an unknown wilderness, but one day, the alchemy furnace fire fell from the sky and smashed into this mystic realm, which was then named the Alchemy Furnace Plain. Because of the existence of the Alchemy Furnace Secret Realm, this plane also had some more vitality. One after another, alchemists came to live in this area, absorbing the rich heaven and earth fire here, and comprehending the way of alchemy. There were also some warriors who cultivated fire Xian Qi living nearby, gradually forming a place for the human race to live. However, there were other races living in this place. They were the local tyrants. The human race did not dare to expand on a large scale, nor did they dare to build a city here. Otherwise, it would arouse their hostility. The Luo Manor's group passed through the space gate. After a few days, they arrived at the Alchemy Furnace Plain. This was an endless wilderness. The weeds grew quite vigorously. There were also many spiritual herbs hidden in it. As long as one looked carefully, they would be able to find them. Occasionally, they would even find sacred herbs. Many rogue cultivators would often form teams to find herbs or kill beasts to survive in this place. After arriving here, they saw many alchemists and protectors rushing to the alchemy furnace secret territory with all their might. When the Luo Manor's group appeared, they attracted a lot of attention. Most of the forces retreated. The Luo Manor sent out an ancient war chariot. There were many powerful water dragons pulling the chariot. Its terrifying aura was astonishing. Who would dare to go against it? Yang Wu was with them. He felt that this was not an ordinary show of extravagance. These divine-level water dragons were strong enough to hold their own. They were quite powerful. If they were raised as mounts, it would easily arouse the wrath of the Flood Dragon clan. The Luo Manor was not afraid. The Luo Manor's group passed first. Only then did the other forces dare to quietly follow behind. They were not afraid of the Luo Manor's people entering first. After obtaining the inheritance, the secret territory's opening time was fixed. Not everyone could enter first. Furthermore, the alchemy furnace secret territory had existed for tens of thousands of years. It had been opened many times. Every time someone entered, they would gain something. Everything depended on luck. Soon, the Luo Manor's group arrived near the alchemy furnace secret territory. Everyone stepped out of the war chariot. Yang Wu looked at the deep pit in front of him curiously. He felt balls of blazing heat waves rolling over. The fire Xianqi was incomparably dense. There was already an earth fire vein nearby. As long as they dug deeper, earth fire would appear. It was a good place to refine pills and weapons. At the same time, the Supreme Nine Profound Arts finally reacted again. There really is mysterious essence qi. Yang Wu shivered and secretly exclaimed. When he was in the Transcendent Realm, he used the will of the Transcendent Realm to search for Xianqi. In the end, he only found a place where Xianqi could be formed. There was no new Xianqi born, which made him extremely disappointed. Now that he was in the God Realm, he finally encountered another type of Xianqi. He needed 9 different types of Xianqi to complete the Supreme 9 Profound Arts and become the strongest immortal art. Now, he had already gathered 6 types of Xianqi. He only needed 3 more to complete the immortal art. He was looking forward to the 7th type of Xianqi. However, no matter how he looked at it, this deep pit didn't look like a secret territory. This is the outer area of the alchemy furnace secret territory. Once it opens, there will be a completely different world. Nancy explained to Yang Wu. Yang Wu nodded and said, "Then I hope senior sister will be able to reap some benefits." From your tone, it seems like you really don't care about the benefits here. Is it because your inheritance has already reached the immortal rank? Is that why you don't care? Nancy asked with wide eyes. Yang Wu smiled and said honestly, yes. Who are you trying to fool? Nancy rolled her eyes at him. There were already other alchemists nearby. Moreover, they were all famous alchemists. When they saw the people from the Luo clan, they also came over to clean up. These alchemists knew each other. However, it was another matter whether their relationship was good or bad. The alchemists who dared to greet the Luo clan were all immortal rank alchemists. Normal alchemists didn't have the right to do so. At this time, people from the Wuji sect, 9 Divine sect, and Hidden Pellet Palace arrived one after another. In addition, Yang Wu also discovered that people from the Grass Moon Hall had also come. Yang Wu didn't know the people from the Grass Moon Hall, but he could tell from their clothes. That's right. How could these herbal medicine sellers not consecrate a few outstanding alchemists? Yang Wu quickly figured it out. Boss Wu Ho, you're here too. That's great. Huashinxi's voice sounded not far away. Yes, what a coincidence. Chapter 1641. 5 days passed in the blink of an eye. The number of people who arrived gradually increased, from a few hundred to tens of thousands. The scale of the crowd still gave Yang Wu a fright. Later, he asked around and found out that there were 10,000 people who could enter, spread across every prefecture in Luo State. As long as they reached the Saint Realm, they could enter. Many people fought to the death for the Jade token. Only a few major forces had a fixed quota, so they didn't need to compete with other alchemists. The Luo Manor only had 10 quotas. It wasn't that they weren't powerful enough, but that they didn't have enough alchemists. Moreover, they didn't focus on the field of alchemy, so they gave up more quotas. There were 10,000 alchemists, 20,000 protectors, and some who came to join in the fun. It wasn't surprising that there were tens of thousands of people. However, not all of these 10,000 people could enter the secret realm. Entering the secret realm was dangerous, and the slightest carelessness could result in death. On the seventh day, the deep pit in front of the alchemy furnace secret realm suddenly burst open, and flames shot up into the sky. The terrifying flames formed a storm, stunning everyone in the surroundings. The alchemy furnace secret realm has opened. This day has finally come. What rich flames! This is divine fire. If I can refine it, my true fire will be even more powerful. Be careful. This is furnace fire, and the fire is merciless. Once you touch it, you'll die. Look, the fire has formed the shape of a furnace. It's really spectacular. Rumor has it that this is the result of a fallen celestial furnace, and it contains all kinds of celestial techniques. Whoever obtains it will be able to reach the heavens in a single step. Everyone charge! The nearby earth fire formed the shape of a huge furnace. The raging flames were incomparably terrifying, and this furnace was the entrance. A large amount of medicinal fragrance wafted out, instantly intoxicating everyone. They felt as if they were floating in the air. This was the smell of immortal herbs. Only the essence of immortal herbs could mesmerize these immortal and saint realm beings. In addition, there were fire talismans floating in the air. They looked like celestial characters, but also like the condensation of special celestial techniques. Each fire talisman was filled with a mysterious aura, as if they came from ancient times and exuded a sense of awe. If one wanted to enter the alchemy furnace secret realm, they had to break into the furnace and withstand the flames here. Only then could they force their way in. Otherwise, everything would be in vain. 30,000 people wasn't something that anyone could withstand. Of the saint alchemists saw the flames. They would rather absorb the fire seed from the outside than barge in. They would be roasted immediately. Fortunately, this was not the first time the alchemy furnace mystic realm had been opened. Many people were already prepared. The various forces had prepared divine clothes and divine armors that could protect them as they entered. Let's go in. An old divine apothecary from the Luo Manor shouted and took the lead to charge into the furnace. The other members of the Luo Manor also leaped up and rushed towards the furnace. They produced a beast skin. This was a true deity, level water demon skin that contained the great power of a true deity. It formed a water barrier that protected them. They flew into the furnace to avoid being killed by the divine flames. Of Yang Wu, Nanshi, and the others were protected by the saint realm of the saint realm, so they could enter together. They were the guests of the saint realm of the saint realm. Yang Wu was impressed by the trump cards of the saint realm. They had saint realm divine items. He couldn't help but think of Ji Ling, who fought with him in the All Saints Palace. He was young, but he also had saint realm divine items, including saint realm divine items. When they flew into the furnace, Yang Wu felt that the flames were completely blocked. However, Blue Demoness in his heart had a strong sense of hunger. It transmitted its voice to Yang Wu. Master, I want to eat them. Don't rush. After we enter, I'll give you time to eat them. Yang Wu comforted Blue Demoness. Okay. I can level up if I eat them, Blue Demoness said excitedly. The beast skin carpet flew very quickly. After breaking through the layers of ferocious firepower, it finally brought them to the bottom of the furnace. It was as if Yang Wu's group had entered the bottom of a huge cauldron. Strands of astonishing medicinal fragrance permeated the surroundings. There were also different colored lights flashing, as if there were immortal medicines flying around here. There were also immortal talismans moving around the walls of the cauldron. There were also terrifying fire veins surging within. It was still filled with infinite danger. One cauldron, one world. Every place had different opportunities, and it all depended on one's own luck. Luo Tongjian, the godly apothecary leading the Luo residents, said loudly, "Spread out and find your own opportunities." This was a separate space, and the opportunities hidden in every direction were different. Whether or not one could obtain them depended on one's luck. If they were all gathered in one place, it would not be easy to divide them. Nan, she transmitted her voice to Yang Wu. Junior martial brother, come with me. Yang Wu shook his head. Senior sister, I can't go with you. He wanted to find the profound essence Qi, so why would he be with her? It wasn't that he was afraid of her stealing it, but that he didn't want to affect her chances. He only needed the profound essence Qi to obtain the good fortune here. Everything else did not matter. After arriving here, he could feel the existence of the profound essence Qi more and more. He could not wait to find it. You think too highly of yourself. Nan, she stomped her foot and said with dissatisfaction. Then she transmitted her voice. Master has given me a method to obtain good fortune. Suddenly, he felt that this senior martial sister was very pure and treated him very well. It was a pity that he could only disappoint her good intentions. Nan, she was about to explode from anger because of Yang Wu. She cursed in her heart. What an unromantic fellow. She brought the two protectors and left. Yang Wu said to Buling, You should also go and protect my senior martial sister. Buling replied, Yes. Even though he was a member of the 9 divine sects, and his mission was to protect Yang Wu, after Yang Wu displayed his powerful strength, Buling felt a lot of pressure beside Yang Wu. He did not dare to disobey Yang Wu's words. The people from the 9 divine sects also entered. Huishenzi immediately rushed to Yang Wu's side and said, Boss, why did you send Elder Bu away? I told him to protect my senior martial sister. Yang Wu replied, Wow, the boss really knows how to take care of women. Huishenzi gave a thumbs up. He then said, Let's search for good fortune together. I just rejected my senior martial sister. Do you think she'll go with you? I'll be leaving first. Yang Wu replied and jumped onto Qi Jin, who had transformed into his true form, and flew off in a certain direction. If they did not go and find the profound essence Qi now, more people would come and there would be more trouble. Huishenzi hesitated for a moment and did not follow Yang Wu. He also had his own good fortune to look for. As a divine body, he had a unique advantage. He could obtain more good fortune than others. The other alchemists also used different methods to enter. They did not gather together and instead spread out to search for their own good fortune. The most important things for alchemists were pill refinement techniques, pill recipes, and true fire. The place with these 3 things would be the place with the most people. This was the bottom of the cauldron, forming a space. The pill refinement techniques and pill recipes were contained within the walls of the cauldron. Whoever could comprehend these fire talismans would be able to obtain them. Most of the alchemists found the right direction and just stared at a few of the fire talismans. Each fire talisman could represent a pill recipe, an inheritance of a pill refinement technique, or even a fire seed. Whether or not one could gain its recognition depended on one's own fortune. Apart from that, there were also some essences of immortal herbs. To be more precise, they were scraps of immortal herbs or leftover dregs. Dregs that were related to immortal items were extremely desired by the alchemists. Maybe some of these dregs could help them increase their strength by leaps and bounds. Maybe they could even remodel their physique. These were all immortal fortunes in the Pill Cauldron Secret Realm. Even though the Pill Cauldron Secret Realm had been opened many times, there would always be people who would gain something each time. There would also be people who would lose their lives here. This was definitely not a peaceful trip to the Secret Realm. Yang Wu brought Qi Jin and rushed towards the direction of the revered 9 Mysteries formula. The feeling was getting stronger and stronger. His eyes kept looking around, but unfortunately, he couldn't see too far. From time to time, there were flashes of fire and layers of fog, which confused his eyes and blocked his line of sight. This place wasn't like the God Palace. It contained the power of the God Chains to stop living things, but it also had a special power that affected living things. Yang Wu only felt that the environment around him was getting hotter and hotter. There was firepower that occasionally turned into attacks and swept towards him. He released blue demonis to devour the firepower. The firepower here was very different. It wasn't a normal fire seed. It was more like a formless virtual fire that could appear at any time. It was impossible to defend against. The 3-legged golden crow Qi Jin was also absorbing the firepower here. He said excitedly, "Master, I want to cultivate here. I might be able to break through. Okay, you can cultivate here in peace, Yang Wu replied straightforwardly. Although Qi Jin was strong, he was still a little weak to protect him. Yang Wu sped up and broke through the layers of fog and flames. The feeling was getting stronger and stronger. However, before he could find it, a fire palm suddenly slapped towards him. Yang Wu was shocked. He raised his hand and punched out. He wanted to shatter the palm. Pong! Yang Wu didn't manage to shatter the palm. He was directly knocked down by it. Moreover, there was willpower that descended on his body. The terrifying firepower swept towards him as if it wanted to refine him. Blue Demoness quickly protected her body and absorbed the firepower. However, the firepower was too strong. Blue Demoness couldn't get rid of it all at once. At that moment, Yang Wu felt like his body was about to be cooked. The firepower was no weaker than the one he had encountered in the Heart God Palace in the True God Tomb. It was even scarier. Yang Wu took out the black pot to block the firepower. He didn't want to be cooked. At the same time, the immortal peach tree and immortal root power in his body were shaking. He couldn't help but cry out, "Immortal fire with immortal power?" Chapter 1642. Legend had it that the Pill Furnace mystic realm was a mystic realm formed by the fall of an immortal furnace. No one could confirm whether this was true or not. Now, Yang Wu felt that the legend was true. This fire that suddenly appeared was definitely immortal fire. Otherwise, the immortal immortality peach tree and the immortal root wouldn't have reacted. The immortal immortality peach tree desired this fire, and so did the immortal root. This fire definitely contained immortal power. Lan Yao Ji was also an immortal seed. No wonder it wanted to devour this fire so badly. However, he didn't know whether this pill furnace land was a real pill furnace or not. Under such circumstances, he couldn't afford to be distracted. He wanted to find a mysterious essence Qi immediately. However, these fire palms seemed to be controlled by someone. They didn't allow him to move forward at all. The fire palms were very scary. Even a top-tier god-tier being might not be able to block them. Even a little bit of it would be troublesome. You all want it, right? Then I'll give it to you. Yang Wu made up his mind. He completely released his aura to absorb and refine the fire here. When more fire palms came down, the black pot would block them for him. The scattered fire would be split between Lan Yao Ji and the immortal immortality peach tree. While the immortal immortality peach tree was absorbing the energy, Yang Wu Hui was the intermediary. If the energy wanted to enter the immortal immortality peach tree through his body, he would naturally have to circulate the 9 revered profound arts to guide the energy to his immortal root and Dantian. When he came into contact with the firepower, he immediately let out a miserable scream. His flesh was immediately burned black and shriveled. It would only take a moment for him to be burned to ashes. Just as he was about to use the immortal liquid to recover, he suddenly felt something different. He felt as if something had been burned out of his body. It wasn't just his skin and flesh. Even his internal organs, bones, and blood vessels were being expelled. These things felt superfluous and had all been eliminated. What was left behind was the essence of his body. Essence? Could it be? A thought flashed through Yang Wu's mind before it was interrupted by the burning pain. He didn't hesitate to refine the immortal liquid. He used the Tao of life to recover his injuries and lessen his pain. At the same time, he carefully felt the changes in the environment here. He found that the power of the fire palm was sometimes strong and sometimes weak, and the fire was also the same. He muttered to himself, "Refining medicine in the alchemy furnace is really treating me like a medicinal herb to be refined." Then what was expelled just now was the impurities in my body. I've gone through all kinds of tempering, so my body should have reached a perfect state. Could it be that there are really some impurities? Not only had he used various extreme powers to temper his body, but he had also refined and absorbed the celestial liquid. He felt that his body was incomparably powerful and perfect, but now he had a strong suspicion. As the power of the immortal liquid restored his body, he felt that his body had become much more compact, and the explosive power it contained seemed to have increased as well. He became more and more certain of his thoughts. A pill furnace was used to refine medicine, and he was now a stock of great medicine. After being refined, only its essence was left. He did not blindly endure the refinement of the immortal fire here immediately. He was afraid that he would really be refined into a lump of essence. His cultivation level was too high, and the firepower here was too strong. Without the immortal liquid, he wouldn't be able to withstand it at all. He had to adapt to the environment here. Only then could he refine himself while protecting himself. Yang Wu carried the black pot and observed the changes in the fire palms. He even opened his soul eye. He didn't want to miss out on any details. Only by grasping the rules could he survive here and obtain greater rewards. It wasn't easy for him to quietly observe the changes here. Even if the black pot blocked the attacks for him, he would still be attacked by terrifying attacks. He had no choice but to forcefully absorb the firepower. Fortunately, Lan Xiaoji and the immortality peach tree shared some of the firepower, so he was lucky enough to survive. These fire palms appeared and disappeared mysteriously. It was too difficult to grasp their whereabouts. Yang Wu chose to forget about these dangers. He wholeheartedly observed the movements around him and sensed the changes. He activated the celestial moon mirror technique to imitate all of this. Soon, he gradually imagined the rhythm of the fire palms in the god's court. They did indeed have a set of rules, and they were proceeding according to this set of rules. Is this a set of alchemy techniques? Yang Wu asked suspiciously. He didn't think too much about it. He followed the changes in the rhythm and started to adapt to the environment here. When the fire palms were strong, he would stop to resist them. When the fire palms were weak, he would quickly advance. He walked very slowly. During the process, he felt as if he had experienced 81 disasters. His body was burned many times, and the pain was unbearable. Without the immortal liquid, he would really die. From the fire palms, he extracted the fire seed's power and traces of immortal energy. Most of the fire seed's power was refined by Lan Xiaoji, and the traces of immortal energy were absorbed by the immortality peach tree. The immortal foundation's power was also devouring it. His dantian also benefited from it. As he advanced, his cultivation level increased. After reaching the 12th level of the celestial pattern realm, it wasn't easy to increase one's strength. Even in the god realm, where the energy was extremely dense, he still needed time to stabilize before he could improve. Now, he had just broken through not long ago. In the true god's tomb, he had an obvious improvement. Now, he had another round of improvement. He was already at the late stage of the 12th level of the celestial pattern realm. His improvement speed was too fast. However, this wasn't the most surprising thing about him. The changes in his physical body were what surprised him the most. Every time the fire passed through his body, he felt as if he was going to be roasted. However, it was more like a tempering rhythm. Remove the dregs and keep the essence. This was the process of refining herbs. Now that it was used on his body, he felt as if he was going to die. Every time his physical body recovered, he would have a new feeling. He couldn't tell how the grayish-white impurities that were expelled were caused. In short, after these impurities were expelled, his skin, flesh, organs, bones, and blood vessels became more perfect. His entire body had a completely different sublimation. When he was in the saint realm, he had achieved the great success divine body. He suspected that he hadn't become a god yet, but he already had the feeling that he had achieved the great success divine body. His power was increasing to the extreme. His talents, such as barbarian god's arm and wind god's legs, entered a new stage. When his physical body was improving, he felt a strong sense of hunger. He wanted to eat flesh and blood to replenish the blood energy that he had lost. This was something that even the immortal liquid couldn't replenish. He took out the corpse of the starry sky beast and used the fire here to roast it and eat it. After the corpse of the starry sky beast was also condensed, he swallowed its flesh. The texture was quite good. It melted in his mouth, and a strong blood energy rolled into every part of his body. It made him feel a lot more comfortable. After becoming a saint, even if I don't eat for a long time, I won't feel hungry. Now, I'm actually hungry. It seems that the function of my stomach has been greatly enhanced. Moreover, my body needs this power to replenish its strength, Yang Wu concluded. As he kept moving forward, the power of the fire palm gradually disappeared. However, the smell of the herbs became stronger. He felt that there were great herbs in the vicinity, or the remnants of herbs that had been refined. He resisted the temptation of these great herbs and searched for the whereabouts of the mysterious energy essence. However, no matter how his soul eye looked, he couldn't find its whereabouts. He could only feel that it was nearby. Yang Wu simply let go of the supreme 9 mysteries formula and crazily absorbed the power here, resonating with another kind of mysterious energy essence. His body had already absorbed the mysterious energy essence of the pre-embryo, frost spring, blood fiend, corrosive flame, netherworld, and emperor jade. All kinds of mysterious energy essence were released. There was the chi of the pre-embryo, the cold chi of the frost spring, the baleful chi of the blood fiend, the fire chi of the corrosive flame, the nether chi of the netherworld, and the jade chi of the emperor jade. A dazzling 6-colored halo appeared on his body. It was very eye-catching. It was also when he urged the 6 kinds of mysterious energy essence to be fed back to his body, causing him to reach his most abundant state. Suddenly, pieces of meteorites fell from the sky like meteors, crazily smashing down. Bang, bang. The terrifying power was directed at Yang Wu's position. Yang Wu was at a loss, even with the black pot on his head. The black pot's rebound power couldn't stop the falling meteorites. They hit the surface of the black pot. Even Yang Wu was smashed to the ground and spat out blood. Yang Wu was scared out of his wits. These meteorites were more terrifying than the fire palm just now. Even if a top immortal state creature was hit by one of them, it would be severely injured, if not killed. Moreover, in this density, even a top immortal state creature would be smashed to death. It was definitely comparable to the power of a true god. There were even some powers that could threaten true god-level experts. After all, the entrance of the furnace didn't allow true gods to barge in. There was once a true god who wanted to barge into the secret realm, but he was burned to death by the fire seed power here. Everyone knew that the pill furnace secret realm had restrictions. The stronger the creature, the more damage they would suffer. Originally, Yang Wu thought that he had increased his power and could deal with all kinds of emergencies. Now, he was stunned by the power of the meteorites. He kept urging his immortal energy to gather on the black pot. He held the black pot tightly. If the black pot was lost, he would be smashed to death. Unfortunately, the meteorite power was directed at him. No matter how he dodged, they would chase after him. After a round of crazy smashing, the black pot was finally smashed out of his hand. "Oh no!" Yang Wu exclaimed. He took out the Yu-Yin True God Spear and waved it at the meteorites. However, the power of these meteorites was too ferocious and too fast. Before he could wield the True God Spear, his body was smashed into pieces. He fell to the ground and blood flowed out continuously. That kind of pain was no doubt as if one sure was angrily smashing every part of his body, smashing him into meat paste. That kind of pain almost made him faint. This power was even more terrifying than the fire palm just now. Just as Yang Wu was about to lose consciousness, his soul, I caught a trace of a different kind of light. He cried out involuntarily, "Mystic Meteor Essence Chi." Chapter 1643. Fire Chi surged violently in the alchemy furnace secret realm. Different things were happening in every place. Some people were also attacked by the fire palms and were directly burned to death by the firepower here. Some people encountered great medicines, but died on the spot after just licking them. That was a great poison. Some people triggered fire talismans and were drowned by the power of fire talismans. This was a mystic realm, but not everyone would be able to obtain great fortune from it. Yang Wu's location caused a huge commotion. Many alchemists hurried over, but they couldn't pass through the area bombarded by the fire palms at all. The commotion over there is so big. It's definitely a place of great fortune. Unfortunately, it's too dangerous. No matter what kind of fortune it is, first of all, we have to ensure that we have the life to enjoy it. It's best to think of a way to collect the fire seed here. I feel that the fire seed here is very unusual. There seems to be a pill recipe carved on the furnace wall. I have to identify it properly. It feels like there's an earthquake over there. What a terrifying commotion. Hurry up and stay away from it. Yang Wu's location was the most dangerous. There was almost no one who could make it over. Those people could be said to be lucky, but they could also be said to be unlucky. The lucky ones were that those people didn't have to suffer from the bombardment of these meteorites. Even if a true god powerhouse was here, they wouldn't be able to bear it. It was too terrifying. The unfortunate ones were that this was the most precious item inside the alchemy furnace. They didn't have the opportunity to obtain it. What appeared in front of Yang Wu was the meteorite mysterious essence chi. It was precisely this that smashed onto his body furiously. It was the regal 9 mysteries arts that attracted it and startled it. That was why it became so berserk. It was different from other mysterious essence chi. It was like a falling star that smashed down one by one. The impact of these forces was too great. Yang Wu was almost smashed into meat paste. He endured the intense pain and urged the soul bell to protect his divine court with all his might. He was afraid that these meteorites would smash his head and extinguish his soul. Then there would be no way to survive. He had completely given up on resisting. He was just madly circulating the supreme 9 profound arts, leaving his fate in his hands. The regal 9 mysteries formula was indeed an immortal formula that could devour mysterious essence chi. These falling meteorites were not real, but condensed from power. They had almost reached a solid state. When they hit Yang Wu, the power also fell on him. The regal 9 mysteries formula devoured this power, and its speed became faster and faster, more and more frantic. It needed the meteorite mystic essence too much. That ball of mysterious essence chi hung above, like a scattered meteor, falling down continuously, incomparably beautiful. The supreme 9 profound arts needed to absorb all of its core energy in order to be able to advance completely. At this critical moment, the immortal immortality peach tree also played a big role. It also wanted to devour this lump of mysterious essence chi. It needed all kinds of high-level power to strengthen itself and support its growth. In the past, when Yang Wu was absorbing the origin magnetism ray, it was also the main reason why it wanted to devour and refine the origin magnetism ray. Now, it also wanted to have a share of the loot, and it would depend on whether the Sovereign 9 Profound Arts was willing or not. Under the competition between the two, more and more meteorites fell from the sky, and they became more and more terrifying. Yang Wu felt like his body was being smashed into pieces. That kind of extreme pain, so much so that he fainted and woke up again, was something that he would never forget. Compared to the divine lightning body tempering, the void energy body tempering, and the divine fire tempering, he had endured all kinds of torment and pain. However, this kind of feeling of death, where he could only watch himself being smashed into meat paste, was something that he had never experienced before. It was truly a breakthrough. His physical body was not completely destroyed, and it was all thanks to the immortal foundation in his body that was like the flame of life, slowly repairing his body. In the Qian Koan space, there was also a life jade essence that provided him with a lot of life essence, and he also had the support of the Tao of life and death. Otherwise, if it was someone else, they would have been turned into dust by the meteorite mystic essence chi. As long as he could endure this wave, his spiritual consciousness would probably rise to another level. The Supreme 9 Profound Arts still displayed its ability to devour the mystic essence chi. Yang Wu did not need to circulate it, as it was rapidly absorbing the mystic essence chi and absorbing the meteorite mystic essence chi. Not only that, but it was also absorbing the surrounding flames. Yang Wu's physical body was under more and more pressure. Without the soul bell suppressing the divine chord, his head would probably be done for. The Supreme 9 Profound Arts circulated to a kind of extreme, and even the immortal peach tree could not compare to it. The immortal peach tree could only obediently absorb the faint immortal chi in the flames. As the Supreme 9 Profound Arts circulated more and more, The mystic essence chi of the meteorite became incomparably violent. Countless meteorites fell crazily, and the energy from all directions was attracted by it. The fire talismans around the cauldron's walls jumped and rushed in his direction. At this moment, all the alchemists were completely stunned. The cauldron's walls were the inheritance of alchemy techniques and pill recipes, and even contained some secrets to becoming immortals. All of a sudden, they fell from the cauldron's walls and rushed in Yang Wu's direction, instantly attracting everyone's attention. What's going on? The energy is flying over there. Could it be that something is reviving? Not good. The inheritance might have been taken by someone. Damn it. I was just about to comprehend the willpower of the fire talisman, and it flew away. Who did it? I'm going to kill him. What kind of energy is that above? It's like a meteor shower falling. Could it be the mystic essence chi? Before coming to the pill furnace secret realm, there was already news of the existence of the mystic essence chi. Last time in the pill furnace secret realm, someone had already discovered its existence, but unfortunately, they did not have the ability to take it. Could it be that someone had already succeeded this time? The people here were not willing to let the inheritance be taken by someone else, and all of them were nervous. Who could take my inheritance? A divine alchemist shouted and threw out a cauldron to bind the fire talismans. As long as the power of the fire talismans was imprinted in the cauldron, he could also obtain the inheritance. The mystic essence chi is mine. Another person shouted loudly and threw out a divine barrier to bind the mystic essence chi of the meteorite above. On the other side, a bee skin flew out, and it was the Luo clan's people who made a move. There was also someone who activated a divine tower, and it emitted boundless light, crazily collecting the divine fire here. Many divine weapons and strange treasures flew out, and they all wanted to seize the opportunity here. It was not easy for them to wait until this day, and they did not want to work for others. In an instant, the pill furnace secret realm became lively. These divine weapons were all very high level, and there were even true divine items. They must seize some of the opportunities here. In the end, these energies were like crazy, and they kept surging toward Yang Wu's position. Those divine weapons could not be restrained at all, and they were burned and destroyed by the flames. There were even fiery palms that smashed those divine weapons and strange treasures, and some were even burned to ashes on the spot. Countless fiery palms surged, and there were many meteorites that were destroyed, causing the secret realm to become unstable and incomparably dangerous. The people here were completely panicking. Previously, there were people who entered the pill furnace secret realm, and they left behind many experiences, but they had never heard of it becoming so dangerous. As many people died, no one dared to stay any longer, and they all rushed into the sky, quickly rushing out of here. There were also people who continued to take risks, and they must seize the amazing inheritance. In the chaos, some people used ancient methods to obtain fire talismans, some people collected fire seeds, and some people picked up many great medicines. It was indeed a scene of fortune and disaster. Many old divine alchemists were unwilling to give up. They had waited for many years for the secret realm to open, and they were unwilling to leave just like that. There was a divine alchemist from the Dark Pill Palace called Geng Xiangliang. This alchemist was quite famous in the Luo state, and he was already a top divine alchemist, but unfortunately, he could not become an emperor-level divine alchemist. There was also Cui Zhaofeng of the Everlasting Sect, who was also a famous alchemist. It was said that she had already become an emperor-level divine alchemist, but no one knew if it was true or not. Luo Tongjian of the Luo family, Hui Jinyu of the Nine Deities sect. These famous elders did not want to leave, and they all wanted to fight for some opportunities to become emperor-level divine alchemists. There were also a few outstanding alchemists among the younger generation, and they were not inferior to these famous elders, and they also did not leave. In addition, Nanshi and Huoshensi did not leave either. Nanshi had the protection of the true divine object given by her master, and she was also holding a piece of broken copper, which could actually protect her from the attacks of these fire palms. Huoshensi was also extraordinary, and he was still absorbing the flames here. It was as if he had transformed into a fire god, and his aura was getting stronger and stronger. They firmly believed that as long as they could endure the chaos, the true inheritance would be revealed. Where did Junior Brother go? Did he already leave? Nan, she looked around and did not sense Yang Wu's existence. She couldn't help but worry for him. Washinsi was also worried about Yang Wu. He was someone who wanted to join the Medicine God Palace, and Yang Wu was someone he admired, so he did not want him to die. Yang Wu, who was in the center of the chaos, was not dead yet. He was still hanging on by a breath, and his situation was not the worst. His body was full of holes, and there were also wisps of flames burning. Only his head was still intact, protected by the soul bell. Those fire talismans kept rushing towards his divine courtyard, but they were blocked by the soul bell. Lan Yaoji absorbed these flames, and what was left behind were wisps of scattered willpower. As the fire talismans collapsed one by one, Yang Wu sensed its extraordinariness, and only then did he open up a gap to absorb these willpower. Perhaps it was the inheritance of this alchemy cauldron. When this willpower entered his divine court, he vaguely saw some inexplicable scenes. There were alchemists concocting pills, and their amazing methods made him gasp in amazement. There were also some pill recipes that kept surging into his mind. As expected, they were all immortal-level pill recipes. Suddenly, he saw a terrifying explosive force explode. The cauldron was smashed into pieces, and everything turned into nothingness. He faintly understood how this alchemy cauldron's secret realm was born. Bronze Cauldron, come out. Yang Wu did not want to let go of this opportunity, and summoned the Bronze Cauldron. It could help him absorb the inheritance here. Chapter 1644. The Pill Furnace secret realm wasn't the place where the immortal cauldron had fallen, but the cauldron had exploded. There were remnants of the cauldron, immortal fire, cauldron walls, and the essence of medicinal herbs. These things had fallen here to form the Pill Furnace secret realm. Yang Wu summoned the Bronze Cauldron. It was an ancient artifact that might have touched on the immortal level. Perhaps it could take all the fortunes here. As expected, when the cauldron appeared, the treasure spirit appeared and collected the fire talismans one by one. Fortunately, this is immortal fire that has been lost for many years, it said faintly. Otherwise, this old man wouldn't be able to handle it. The Bronze Cauldron's treasure spirit had already confirmed that this was an immortal level fortune. Even if it was just a few scraps, it was still a great fortune for them. As these things were absorbed by the Bronze Cauldron, the pressure on Yang Wu was greatly reduced. The principal 9 mysteries formula circulated even faster. His battered body unconsciously flew up, heading for the mysterious meteorite essence that hadn't fallen yet. The mysterious meteorite essence's power had been greatly reduced, having been absorbed by the principal 9 mysteries formula. Now that it was close, it became even more violent, exploding with an ocean of light. It wanted to completely exterminate Yang Wu, as well as all the living things here. This kind of essence, condensed from heaven and earth, had the ability to seek fortune and avoid calamity. Unfortunately, the principal 9 mysteries formula was created to deal with it. It circulated in Yang Wu's body to the extreme, and the rate of absorption skyrocketed to a terrifying level. Even the most powerful immortal realm creatures couldn't absorb the profound energy of heaven and earth like this, or even worse. The exploding profound energy was all absorbed into Yang Wu's body. Even the core power couldn't escape. A sparkling stone like the core of a star collided with Yang Wu's body. Boundless power instantly filled his body. His cultivation level rose to the peak of the Sage realm in the blink of an eye, almost breaking into the Jade Moon realm. At the critical moment, the supreme 9 mysteries formula had completely integrated with the essence of the meteorite. The power in his meridians was instantly upgraded. The speed of circulation had broken through the limit, forming a terrifying whirlpool. The absorbed meteorite energy was completely divided and integrated. It had finally upgraded again. Ever since it had absorbed the Emperor Jade's profound energy, it had reached the level of a god-level profound art. Now that it had absorbed the meteorite's profound energy, it had directly risen to the level of a true God profound art. Moreover, it was the most powerful true God profound art. The ability to absorb the world's profound energy was not something that other true God profound arts could compare to. All of a sudden, the power of the entire pill furnace realm surged forth. Even this part of the world had an astonishing phenomenon. Everyone seemed to see the firepower here being completely devoured. The secret realm became dim and showed signs of disintegration. At this moment, everyone also saw Yang Wu floating in the air, and their eyes widened. He was the one who obtained the inheritance in the cauldron. Who is he? Why does he look so unfamiliar? He seems to be a new core disciple of the Medicine God Palace, an emperor-level alchemist. I don't care who he is. He can't take our inheritance. He absorbed the profound energy. I'm going to tear him apart alive. In an instant, those who were still alive were furious. They all rushed towards Yang Wu, wanting to snatch the inheritance that belonged to Yang Wu. Nan Shi and Huoshensi were stunned. They wanted to stop them, but it was too late. An overwhelming power enveloped Yang Wu. Everyone wanted to snatch him and take the inheritance. At this very moment, Yang Wu was indeed in a weakened state. Even though the Supreme Nine Profound Arts had leveled up and his strength had skyrocketed, it was impossible for him to completely recover to his peak state in an instant. He still needed some time to recover. Qi Jin, help me. Yang Wu transmitted his voice to Qi Jin. Without needing him to say anything, Qi Jin had already jumped up and turned into a divine firebird. He carried Yang Wu and flew away. Not only that, but he also spat out a fiery golden light. It was the three-legged golden crow's feather, blocking the attacks. Yang Wu didn't stay idle. Even if he couldn't move, he summoned the black pot back and blocked in front of them. Why does that black pot look so familiar? Someone murmured. Soon a voice replied, It's the guy who took the true god spear in the tomb of the true gods. He also has the same black pot. The two people talking were Luo Muxin and Luo Fahai. Huoshensi also recognized Yang Wu's black pot. His eyes widened. It can't be that coincidental, right? In the tomb of the true gods, Yang Wu killed everyone with the true god spear. They didn't dare to make a move, not because they were afraid of Yang Wu, but because they were afraid of the true god spear. At that time, they all saw Yang Wu use the black pot. The golden crow's feather blocked part of the attacks, and the black pot blocked part of the attacks. The two of them were temporarily safe. They directly rushed out. Where do you think you're going? Stay here. You'll die even if you run to the end of the world. How dare you run after stealing the inheritance of the secret realm? You're looking down on us. Stay here. The protectors of the alchemists took action. Their attacks blotted out the sky and covered the earth, breaking apart the pill furnace mystic realm. Boom! Boom! Qi Jin had the bloodline of the three-legged golden crow. Even if he transformed into a divine firebird, he could still explode with great speed. He fled with Yang Wu crazily, but he was still hit. If it weren't for the black pot, the two of them would be in danger. Dozens of terrifying auras chased after them at an astonishing speed. They were top immortal state warriors and martial gods. They were all top masters. Qi Jin's speed couldn't be compared with theirs. The power that bound the space didn't give them a chance to escape at all. A top immortal state warrior shining with golden light shouted, You want to escape under my nose? You're too naive. An expert with a cloak covering his face sneered, Leaving behind the inheritance isn't enough to vent my hatred. I'll pull out your soul and light it up. A martial god shouted, Spit out the mysterious essence Qi. Otherwise, there won't be a place for you to hide even if you run to the end of the world. These immortal state warriors were very powerful. Each of them was ranked among the top in Luo Prefecture. Yang Wu already had no chance to escape, but the mysterious essence Qi was still fusing. What should he do? Fight! Yang Wu gritted his teeth. He summoned dozens of beads and directly detonated them. These were all refined heavenly thunder beads. He didn't want to blow up those immortal state creatures. Instead, he threw them in front of him and exploded the space. He then escaped into the void with Qi Jin. Yang Wu and Qi Jin's backs were wide open. They were hit by some of the power. Even if the black pot reflected the power, they still vomited blood and rolled into the void. This time, Yang Wu directly used the soul bell to open a path. He broke through layers of space and escaped with him and Qi Jin. It was Yang Wu's first time encountering such a dangerous thing. It was not inferior to the things he encountered in the divine firmament battlefield. Hurry up, fuse faster. Yang Wu roared in his heart. He refined 3 drops of immortal liquid at once and frantically recovered his physical strength. The power of 3 drops of immortal liquid was enough to raise Yu's cultivation level, but he squandered it just like that. However, there was still an incomparably violent power wreaking havoc everywhere in his body. These powers had to wait for the supreme 9 mystic arts to calm them down. He was completely powerless. He felt his body being torn apart over and over again. It was so uncomfortable that it reached its limit. He wanted to faint from the pain so much. Perhaps it was not as uncomfortable as this. Qi Jin, who was carrying him, did not have it easy either. The flames in the pill furnace were surging violently on Yang Wu's body. It was a fire seed that contained traces of immortal power. It was also uncomfortable for him. Fortunately, he was a 3-legged golden crow. He could absorb them and help him become stronger. After Yang Wu disappeared, the pill furnace almost collapsed. Those immortal experts chased after him crazily. Even if they had to travel through the void, they would still be able to catch up. Those top immortal experts and martial gods were all extraordinary. Even the slightest spatial fluctuation could not escape their eyes and ears. After refining the 3 drops of immortal liquid, Yang Wu's body was growing again, and his condition was quickly recovering. The power of the meteorite mystic essence was also weakening. His power was constantly replenishing and was about to explode. He circulated the power to the limit and injected it into his major acupoints. These acupoints were also expanded several times by the power, especially the talent acupoints of the barbarian god's arm. They received the most power. The mystic essence could be integrated into them, just like how the frost spring mystic essence and the underworld mystic essence gathered in the kidneys. In addition, there was also an inexplicable change in his stomach. This change felt like another talent was being born. A terrifying sense of hunger swept through his body. He felt that he had to eat a lot of things to satisfy his stomach. Yang Wu did not care about it for now. 3 drops of immortal liquid were not enough. He did not even dare to imagine what kind of change it would be. Lan Yaoji swept away the immortal flames attached to her body. Her cultivation level had increased again, and she was moving toward the top divine flames. Yang Wu felt both pain and happiness at the same time during this round of torture. Suddenly, the pain in his body gradually subsided. The Supreme 9 Mystic Arts was finally about to finish absorbing the meteorite mystic essence. Buzz buzz. His meridians and acupoints were emitting an inexplicable sound. It was as if they were resonating happily, but also as if they were expanding and surging. The power of the void around him was also crazily entering his body. Without thinking, he immediately circulated the void body tempering technique. He continued to temper his body while increasing his strength. Originally, he wanted to suppress his strength to the peak of the Saint Realm. However, he could not suppress it and directly broke through to the half-step Ascension Realm. He could vaguely see the bright moon. My Dantian and acupoints have expanded. They can contain more power. However, my understanding of the Ascension Realm is not enough. I don't need half a step. If I want to break through, I will directly enter the Ascension Realm and see the bright moon. Yang Wu roared and refined a few more drops of immortal liquid. He directly rushed out of the void and guided the majestic power of the stars. Swoosh, swoosh. The boundless power of the stars continued to descend, completely enveloping him. There was also a large amount of qi of heaven and earth surging from all directions. The terrifying, devouring power was extremely shocking. Chapter 1645. Star Rune Transcendence, Divine Ascension, Divine Ascension, Divine Ascension. Yang Wu had built a good foundation for the Star Rune realm in the Transcendent Realm. When he became the first martial saint, the will of the transcendent realm descended. He often became one with the heavens and earth, comprehended cultivation, and improved rapidly. His foundation was built again and again, so he immediately broke through to the 12th level of the Star Rune realm. After arriving here, the boundless Xian-Chi of heaven and earth and the vast power of the stars was a cultivation paradise for any warrior. His strength improved faster than when he was in the transcendent realm. He also had a harvest in the tomb of the true gods. Now that he had obtained the Xian-Chi of meteorites, it was no surprise that he became a divine ascension. This was also one of the benefits brought about by the upgrade of the Imperial 9 Profound Arts. When it reached the True God realm, it would help him to reach the True God realm without too many obstacles. Also, he could fuse more Xian formulas, further increasing the speed of absorption. This was something that other Xian formulas did not have. When he was in the Transcendent Realm, he had deduced many Xian formulas and completed many of them. If he wanted to establish a sect, it would not be a problem at any time. The power of the star runes on his body kept intertwining and converging, forming a crescent moon. Moonlight shone in all directions, and a strange phenomenon appeared. Auspicious clouds filled the sky. Purple chi came from the east, black tortoise true dragons roared, and all living things grew crazily. Different visions flickered, making people fascinated. Divine ascension, divine ascension. Not long after Yang Wu arrived in the divine realm, he finally stepped into the Jade Moon realm. Usually, if a warrior from the human realm wanted to come to the divine realm, they would have to reach the Heaven Ascension realm or even a high-level Heaven Ascension realm to become an overlord. Only then would they have the ability to protect themselves. Yang Wu came here with the strength of the Star Rune realm, and no power came to pick him up. He was like a rogue cultivator who was bullied and chased by others. Today, he stepped into a new world and finally had the ability to protect himself. Unfortunately, good things did not last long. A power broke through the sky and instantly scattered the power he gathered. Little bastard, how can it be so easy to break through? The top god state expert in golden armor rushed over and punched Yang Wu with his golden fist. On the other side, a fiery sword light slashed out, and even Qi Jin was enveloped in it. There was even a divine weapon that had transformed into a dragon and was roaring fiercely. These ferocious attacks were all at the pinnacle of the divine realm. "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Yang Wu shouted, holding the black pot and shielding Qi Jin behind him, blocking the attacks. Puff! Suddenly, Yang Wu's breathing became chaotic, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He felt as if something in his body had cracked open. He had refined the immortal elixir to heal his injuries, so how could something still crack? He looked inside his body and saw a crack between his immortal foundation and Dantian. It was as if it had completely broken them, causing them to not be as smooth as before. It was also as if a knife had slashed through his internal organs, and it was a visible but intangible cut, which was quite ferocious. Yang Wu had never seen such a wound before, and it was actually something his power could not erase. He did not know what the problem was, but his body felt especially uncomfortable and uncomfortable. The blood he spat out just now was not because of the shock, but because this wound had suddenly split open. Could it be? This is the legendary injury of the martial path. Yang Wu thought of a terrifying idea. The injury of the martial path was also known as the injury of the Great Tao. It was when something went wrong in the process of cultivation, causing problems in one's path of the martial path. If it was light, one would go berserk, and if it was serious, one's martial path foundation would be completely destroyed, and one would eventually become a cripple. Yang Wu, who had just broken through to the next realm, was crazily losing power, and the circulating power all disappeared from the wound. The crescent moon could not be maintained, and it directly shattered. His Dantian was in turmoil, and all the power was slowly dissipating. Even the power of his immortal foundation could not be used excessively. At most, it could only protect his body. This kind of injury was too great. At the same time, the god-level beings were still attacking. not giving Yang Wu any chance of survival. They had already sealed the space, so even the void travel technique could not be used. This time, Yang Wu was really in danger. There were only 3 people in front of him. One was Luo Minshao in his golden armor. The other was sword god Jiang Fan with his flaming sword, and the last was Wang Zhangqi with his dual dragon spear. These 3 were the strongest, all at the peak of the immortal realm. They were also the first to track down Yang Wu's escape. The others were still behind, or had lost track of him. Luo Minshao was the protector of the Hidden Pill Palace's divine medicine master, and his strength was at the peak of perfection. Sword god Jiang Fan was extremely famous in Luo's state. He also came to protect the divine medicine master, and, at the same time, he wanted to seize some opportunities that belonged to him. Wang Zhangqi was the supreme divine medicine master's protector, and he was also a martial god. Yang Wu had taken most of the fortune in the cauldron, so no one would let him go. Luo Minshao's golden fist came again. Golden light flashed as it smashed down from the sky, like a vast star crushing down. It was truly terrifying. This punch was launched later, and it landed on the Black Cauldron's defensive chi. The fist energy was extremely domineering, and it exploded the Black Cauldron's chi. Yang Wu and Qi Jin were both sent flying, vomiting blood. It was not that the Black Cauldron's defensive power was not strong enough, but that Yang Wu's power had become chaotic, and he could not hold on. Jiang Fan turned into a fiery shadow and rushed toward Yang Wu, wanting to snatch Yang Wu first. Wang Zhangqi blocked him from the side and also grabbed toward Yang Wu. None of them wanted Yang Wu to fall into the hands of others. Luo Minshao was also blocked by their attacks, and he was enraged. It won't be too late to decide the victor after we capture this brat. Sure enough, the 2 of them stopped attacking, and they both grabbed toward Yang Wu at the same time. At this moment, Yang Wu had already come to his senses. He activated the power of the divine chains in his dantian, and he held the true god spear in his hand, and the condensed light swept toward them. Even though his power was disappearing, it would not be completely destroyed immediately. Moreover, his physical body had already improved by a level. After being tempered by the fire palm technique in the cauldron, the density of his body had become completely different, and his explosive power was even more powerful. The Dao injury only affected the martial arts that he cultivated and the power in his body, but it did not affect the explosive power that his physical body possessed. The power of the divine chains was not the power that he cultivated, but the martial arts that he comprehended resonated with the power of the divine chains, and it was branded into his body to help him improve his martial arts. Before the Dao injury completely erupted, he could still activate the power of the divine chains. Once the martial injury completely erupted, all of his martial arts would be crippled, and it would be difficult for him to use the power of the divine chains. The 3 of them were a little caught off guard by Yang Wu's sudden burst of power of the divine chains, and they were forced to retreat explosively. Among them, Luo Minshao did not retreat, and after the golden fist landed on the power of the divine chains, he was not forced back, but Yang Wu was forced back again. Do you really think that the power of the external divine chains is invincible? Brat, you're dead for sure. Luo Minshao sneered. Is that so? Then come and try. Yang Wu steeled his heart and shouted loudly, taking the initiative to attack Luo Minshao. Luo Minshao's combat power was incomparably strong, and he was not afraid of Yang Wu, who had the power of the divine chains. Furthermore, he could feel that Yang Wu's aura was chaotic, and he must have been interrupted by them when he was breaking through. Taking down such an opponent was an easy task. Yang Wu's long spear smashed down, and it was as if the water of the Luo River flowed backwards. This power was much more domineering than when he was in the Luo Manor. No matter what, he was someone who had seen the bright moon. Even if the bright moon was dim, he had experienced the glory of that moment, and it was enough for him to unleash even more power. Jiang Fan and Wang Ziki were both surprised, as they did not expect Yang Wu to have such combat power. They worked together to seal the space, not allowing Yang Wu to escape. Final struggle. Luo Minshao shouted, and his golden fist continued to attack. The domineering fist aura contained dense martial arts power, and its indestructible power rose to the heavens and the earth, causing the Luo River to split open. "You're just SOSO," he added disdainfully. All of a sudden, a cold and gloomy energy swept past his neck. This power appeared too suddenly, and it broke through his defensive chi, cutting off his head. The defensive chi of a top-tier divine state warrior was not something that could be broken through by any weapon. This power that secretly cut through his defense was extremely sharp, and it came too suddenly. Even Jiang Fan and Wang Ziki were stunned. The Netherworld Ice Wing Blade. It had been upgraded again after he was beaten up, and it was not inferior to any top-tier divine weapon. Under the sudden attack, it immediately worked. There was also an extremely cold chi and netherworld chi that swept over Luo Minshao, wanting to corrode his body. Divine state warriors would not die so easily. Even if their heads were cut off, they would not die, let alone someone as powerful as Luo Minshao. He stretched out his arm, grabbed his head, and pressed it back. The cold chi did not get close to his body, and it was dispersed by a wave of golden light and evil chi. "Brat, I didn't expect you to have such a trick up your sleeve. Unfortunately, this is the end." Luo Minshao reattached his head, and his anger soared. When he attacked again, it was earth-shattering. Yang Wu activated the power of the divine chains to receive the attack, but he was still beaten back, and he coughed up blood continuously. He felt like he had nowhere to exert his strength, and if it were not for his strong physical body, he would not have been able to continue fighting. "Let's go all out. Qi Jin, you lead the way. We'll kill our way out." Yang Wu did not want to die here, so he threw the black pot to Qi Jin to control. He used the power of the divine chains with all his strength, and barely managed to draw out some of the power of the immortal foundation. The power of the divine chains turned into dragons, and they continuously crashed into the world, shattering it. Rumble, rumble. Even with the Dao injury, Yang Wu's final struggle was still very terrifying. At the same time, the others finally rushed over. They were all stunned when they saw such a battle. Lord Luo is fighting that guy. Their battle is so terrifying. Is he really a saint alchemist of the Medicine God Palace? Why do I feel like he's an old monster that has lived for 10,000 years? He's too strong. With the three lords here, he can't escape. Chapter 1646. The people from the Luo Manor had also arrived. There were 3 martial gods among them. Other than Luo Ji and Luo Qi, there was also a top god state expert, Luo Yuchuan. Luo Yuchuan was the most powerful protector in the Luo Manor. He had become famous 3,000 years earlier than Luo Ji and Luo Qi. He was a veteran martial god. He had fallen behind because he wanted to take care of the others. Otherwise, he would have caught up with Yang Wu. When they arrived and saw Yang Wu and Luo Minshao fighting, they were shocked. Although Luo Minshao was not a martial god, he was quite powerful. How could it be so easy to deal with? Yang Wu was actually able to fight fiercely with him, which once again refreshed their understanding of him. "Nan," she said to Luo Yuchuan without hesitation, "hurry up and save my junior brother." Luo Yuchuan was indifferent. They had brought Nan Shi and Yang Wu with them, but it did not mean that they had to protect them. Luo Tongjian did not speak. He was a top divine apothecary and the best alchemist here. If he spoke, Luo Yuchuan would definitely give him face. "Nan," she said loudly, "he is a foreign elder appointed by your old mansion master. If you don't help him, can you bear the consequences when your old mansion master asks?" As her voice fell, Luo Tongjian had no choice but to say, "Protect him." The Luo Manor was the most powerful force in the Luo state. It should not be difficult for them to protect one person. Luo Yuchuan released a powerful aura and rushed toward the battle. He shouted, "He is a foreign elder of the Luo Manor. All of you stop." Following this, he drew out his saber and lashed out furiously. The overwhelming saber glow felt like it was going to split the heavens and earth apart, resulting in a terrifying and domineering aura. The saber slashed through Jiang Fan and Wang Zhangqi's blockade and headed straight for Yang Wu and Luo Minchao. Luo Minchao's reaction was extremely fast, and he quickly retreated. Yang Wu was not slow either, and he retreated. The Dao injury continued to drain his strength, and his face became incomparably pale. The power of the divine chains was getting weaker and weaker. If the other party had come a little later, he would have been in big trouble. However, the other party did not seem to have any intention of giving Luo Yuchuan any face. Jiang Fan stood in front of Luo Yuchuan and said, "This is the person we intercepted first. Do you want to snatch him?" Jiang Fan's entire body was surging with blood qi. A full moon was shining above his head, and a ball of fire qi was like the sun. No one could look directly at him. "He's a guest elder of my Luo manor," Luo Yuchuan emphasized again. "Even if you're a guest elder of the Luo manor and obtain the inheritance of the Pill Furnace Mystic Realm, you still have to hand it over for everyone to study. You can't hog it all for yourself," Wang Ziki said from the side. Luo Minchao replied, "That's right. No one can stop me from taking down this kid today." Then he attacked Yang Wu again. "How dare you stop me?" Luo Yuchuan was furious. Their Luo manor had always been a force to be reckoned with within the Luo province. How could he not be furious when these three fellows actually tried to stop him? "If you want to save him, you have to get past me first," Jiang Fan replied. The fire sword flew out and slashed at Luo Yuchuan. The fire sword that was tens of thousands of feet long turned into a python and slashed at Luo Yuchuan. Wang Zhangqi also made his move. He stabbed out with the double dragon spear. It was as if two fire dragons were roaring and surging, illuminating the world. "How dare you?" Luo Yuchuan roared and slashed out with his saber. The endless saber energy slashed at the attacks and instantly shattered them. Nanshi said to the two protectors beside her, "Don't just stand there. Go and save Junior Brother." The two protectors did not hesitate and quickly rushed out to help Yang Wu. They were not weak. They were both high-level immortal state experts. Buling looked in the direction of Hua Shensi. After seeing Hua Shensi nodding, he also rushed toward Yang Wu. "Boss, oh boss, you really gave me a big surprise," Hua Shensi exclaimed in his heart. He did not expect Wu Ho to be Yang Wu. If Yang Wu did not take out the black pot, he would not have recognized him. Now that he saw the true God Spear in Yang Wu's hand, he was even more certain of Yang Wu's identity. However, Yang Wu's true God Spear seemed to have a problem. It did not erupt with the might of a true god. However, some people did not want Yang Wu to be saved by the Luo manor. Many experts went out to stop others from saving Yang Wu. The Alchemy Furnace secret realm belongs to everyone. How can one person be allowed to take it away? That's right. Let him hand over the inheritance of the Alchemy Furnace secret realm. Otherwise, no one can take him away. The Luo Manor's people can't be so overbearing. One by one, God-ranked experts walked out. They were all very powerful, and there were a total of dozens of them. How could Nanshi's protectors and Buling support Yang Wu? Huashensi could not help but roar. "You want to bully me with numbers? I'll play with you." In the next moment, Huashensi took out a true god sword and slashed forward. The sky and earth seemed to be split by a terrifying wave of fire. Huashensi already had the power to break through to the Jade Moon realm. With the power of his godly body, he could challenge god-class elites. With the help of the true, godly sword, even a top-tier god-class elite would have to retreat. A true god weapon was not a cabbage that could be picked up easily. Only a superpower could have one. The 9 divine sects were a superpower in the Luo state, and Huashensi was a godson that the 9 divine sects focused on. Naturally, he had a true god weapon. This was a way to protect him. Luo Minchao, who was closer to Yang Wu, did not have it easy. Even though he was a top-tier god-class expert, he was still severely injured by the explosion and coughed up blood. If he had retreated a little slower, even if he had not died, his injuries would have been worse than now. The god-class experts who ran away were all shocked. It seemed that they did not expect Yang Wu to be so ruthless. "Junior brother." Then she looked at the ball of energy that had not dissipated for a long time and said in a daze, She had not known Yang Wu for long, but in her heart, she had already treated him as her junior brother. He was so young and so talented in alchemy. Even in the medicine god hall, he could be ranked among the top. How could he die just like that? Huashinxi's face was gloomy as well. It seemed that he did not expect Yang Wu to die here. The others did not care whether Yang Wu was dead or not. They surrounded Yang Wu and searched for his belongings. The inheritance of the alchemy furnace secret realm would not be destroyed so easily. However, when they searched, they could not find any of Yang Wu's belongings. They did not believe that his belongings were destroyed by the explosion of the god chain. He must have taken an invisible pill and escaped, Geng Xiangliang said. Not just the invisible pill, but the aura-concealing pill as well, another god-class alchemist said. The former was invisible, while the latter was concealing all auras. No one could find it. Look at my shape-breaking mirror. A god-class expert shouted. He took out a divine mirror and poured his energy into it. The surface of the mirror flashed with a dazzling light and shot out in all directions. Everything within 10,000 miles was revealed by the divine mirror. Everyone looked at the divine mirror and saw that there were after-images in the distance. It was Yang Wu and Qi Jin. Over there, Chase, the god-class expert shouted. Look at my star arrow, another person shouted. He raised his god-class bow and shot at Yang Wu's position. The arrow flashed, and a powerful force was triggered. The terrifying arrow shot at Yang Wu like a meteor. Another force shot out and blocked the arrow in advance. You dare to kill our Luo Manor's guest elder? You must be tired of living. Luo Yuchuan shouted angrily. He had emphasized many times that Yang Wu was a member of the Luo Manor, but these people were crazy. They even attacked Yang Wu. They did not put the Luo Manor in their eyes. These people ignored Luo Yuchuan and quickly chased after Yang Wu. They concluded that Yang Wu was seriously injured and could not have escaped far. Chapter 1647. Somewhere in Luo province, a door of light was moving. A young man and a young woman quietly appeared. The young man sat cross-legged on the qilin. His handsome face was very cold. His eyes were suffused with traces of divine light. He was dressed in white and looked incomparably elegant. Like the qilin, he was born to be an emperor. His noble aura was born naturally. The girl was wearing a pink dress. Her exquisite and graceful figure was unquestionable. The most attractive thing about her was not her figure, but her face that could be called the masterpiece of an immortal. It was so beautiful that it was soul-stirring. Beneath her was a four-eyed cat that contained an ancient bloodline. Its demonic aura was very strong. They were like a golden couple. Anyone who saw them would say, "What a pair." The man was outstanding and the woman was dazzling. They were a match made in heaven. Phew, I finally made it to this remote Luo province. It really wasn't easy. The young woman stretched, revealing a beautiful arc that made people salivate. The young man next to her looked straight ahead and said, "Did you come so far, just to sightsee?" Of course not. I have a very, very important thing to do," the young girl said with a trace of craftiness in her eyes. "What is so important that you have to do it personally?" The young man asked again. "Of course it's my personal matter. I have to do it personally. Otherwise, it won't show my sincerity. I'm very curious. You know how to be curious? It's really not easy. All right, enough nonsense. Let's continue on our way. I can't wait." In another direction, a young woman was driving several powerful ferocious beasts forward. She was carrying a little white dog in her arms. She was particularly eye-catching among the many ferocious beasts. Many creatures saw this young woman and wanted to take advantage of her. However, after seeing the ferocious beasts that were overflowing with aura, they ran as far away as they could. This young woman was someone they could not afford to offend. Little White, how long do you think it will take for me to see the young master?" "Woof, woof. You'll see him very soon. Don't worry, don't worry. The young master must have suffered a lot to come to the God realm. Now, there are still people who want him. These people really deserve to die. If you go back and bring your master's men here, you can also wipe them all out. I don't want to talk to master." Somewhere in the void, there was a palace shuttling through the void. This palace was very ancient. Even if the top figures of the God realm encountered this palace, they would have to bow and retreat from afar. because this was the palace of literature and music that had left behind countless classics. The literary palace was once the palace left behind by the literary saint of the literary star. Whoever obtained the approval of the palace would be the next literary saint. The literary sage didn't mean that he only had the strength of the sage realm. It was just an honorific title. Many people called him the literary sage. Now, after so many eras, the literature and music palace finally had a new owner. Otherwise, it wouldn't have appeared in this world. A sloppy youth was slowly flipping through a book in the palace. Every time he turned a page, the words would turn into runes and enter his divine court. It was quite magical. Suddenly, the Wenchu palace stopped moving. Someone in the void stopped the palace from moving forward. The person who dared to stop the literature and music palace was quite bold. He must know that only a person with literary spirit could withstand the crushing pressure of the palace's literary spirit. This was a sloppy old man with a flagon of wine hanging on his back. He had a lazy look on his face, and it was unknown if he had done so intentionally or not. The palace came to a stop, and the young man walked out. He politely greeted the old man who was blocking the entrance of the palace. "Greetings, senior. May I know why you are blocking my way?" "Kid, this old man is drunk. Can you let me stay in your palace for a few days? I promise I won't take it by force," the old man said rather shamelessly. The youth didn't mind. He smiled and said, "Sure." The array formation of the palace opened, allowing the old man to walk in. It was unknown whether the youth was too naive or he had nothing to fear. He saw a stranger and led him into the palace. Was he not afraid of being robbed? The old man did not hold back and swaggered into the palace. His wretched eyes constantly swept across the palace, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. He took a deep breath and murmured, as expected of the Wind Palace, to actually have the opportunity to walk in so openly. This brat is much more imposing than that guy, when shown. "Senior, if you don't have anything else, you can stay here. I still have to go. When you want to leave, you can let me know." "Not bad, not bad. You have food here. Give me something to eat. I haven't eaten meat for a long time. My mouth is so bland." "Senior, I haven't eaten meat for many years too." Pill Furnace Plains. This was an endless plain. If any living being were to hide here, it would not be easily discovered. However, it wasn't easy to hide here. There were large numbers of wild beasts, monsters, and other races living here. Those who weren't of their race would be attacked. The plains were much more lively than before. Many creatures were alarmed, and many deity-level humans rushed over, forcing them to hide. There were also creatures who were unwilling to accept this outcome that rushed out to fight the humans. Unfortunately, these were the elites of the human race. They really couldn't stop them. Only a true divinity monster would be able to intimidate these humans. These people were the ones searching for Yangwu. After Yangwu escaped, he thought he could get away safely. However, he was still pursued like a madman. Fortunately, he had a mortal elixir to constantly replenish his strength. His physical strength wasn't weak either. Otherwise, he would have been captured long ago. He couldn't go on like this. Sooner or later, he would be captured. He had a Tao injury in his body. Even the power of a mortal elixir couldn't heal it. This was the first time he'd encountered something like this. He was completely flustered. If his Tao injury couldn't be healed, he could only wait for death. Now, he and Qi had escaped to a flamingo tribe. They were temporarily staying here for the sake of the three-legged golden crow. The flamingos here weren't weak. With them covering for them, it would be more or less useful. Those who were chasing Yangwu didn't all follow together. Yangwu continuously used void travel to change directions. Even with the tracking divine mirror, it was difficult to keep track of his position. "I have to heal my Tao injury. Only then will I have a chance to fight back," Yangwu thought to himself. He entered a pile of mountains and let Qi protect him. He began to heal his Tao injury in meditation. If he could heal his Tao injury, he wouldn't have to be afraid no matter how many people were chasing him. Yangwu, who was sitting quietly, ran the supreme 9 mysteries formula. It had already advanced, so there was no reason not to provide him with some convenience. This time, there really wasn't any convenience. When the power of his meridians was running, it was blocked by the Tao injury. It immediately made him feel extremely uncomfortable. He couldn't absorb the power into his dantian. I can't absorb the power. The immortal elixir doesn't work. Let's try my immortal root. Yang Wu didn't intend to give up. He sensed his immortal root and activated its power to heal his Tao injury. The power of the immortal root was indeed the foundation of his cultivation. It really did slowly heal the injuries. Just as he was about to get excited, the Tao injury slowly split open again. What's going on? Yang Wu felt like he was going crazy. This Tao injury was described as being destroyed by others when he was breaking through. He didn't expect it to be so serious. That's right, I still have the worldly source Qi. Yang Wu looked at the worldly source Qi he obtained from the All Saints Hall. He gave a portion to the immortal immortality peach tree to absorb. He also took out 2 strands and gave them to Yang Tianjiao and Yang Wushuang to help them become innate divine physiques. Whether or not they would become immortal physiques would depend on their abilities. There was still a portion left in the yin-yang space for him to break through to the Jade Moon Realm. Now that he had broken through to the Jade Moon Realm first, he still hadn't used the worldly source Qi. Don't disappoint me. Yang Wu didn't hesitate to refine the worldly source Qi. This was the power from the beginning of the world. It had an incomparably mysterious power that could continuously increase one's strength and physical strength. It also had some other magical uses. Sure enough, after the heaven and earth source Qi poured into the Tao wound, it healed again. It was even more effective than the power of the immortal root. That dim and lightless dantian was once again filled up. His dantian was formed by the immortal immortality peach seed. Now that the immortal immortality peach tree had grown, the immortal immortality peach seed still occupied his dantian and became one with him. There wasn't much worldly source Qi. After it was used up, the Tao injury wasn't completely healed. There was still a little gap. No matter how hard Yang Wu tried, he couldn't completely heal it. Fortunately, the situation was much better than before. Much better now, Yang Wu muttered to himself. He circulated the supreme 9 mysteries formula. His blood Qi was much smoother. The Tao injury didn't expand again, which made him feel much more at ease. Suddenly, dozens of tyrannical auras descended from the outside. A ray of light swept towards his position. That guy is below. Quickly seal the space and don't give him a chance to escape. The immortal holding the divine mirror shouted. Immediately after, many people joined forces to seal the space in all directions. The flamingo tribe was completely alarmed. Screech! The flamingos cried out in alarm. Many divine birds soared into the sky and fought with the immortal realm experts. You flamingos get lost. Otherwise, you will all be killed, Luo Minchao shouted. Invading my tribe and being so presumptuous. We will fight it out with you. The flamingos shouted. The flamingos only had a few immortal realm experts. Most of them were in the saint realm. Some were even below the saint realm. How could they compete with the humans? The flamingos were killed one after another. Fresh blood flowed continuously, and their cries didn't stop. Yang Wu saw this scene from below. His eyes were red. He held the Big Dipper sword in one hand and the black pot in the other. He soared in the sky and roared, "You all deserve to die." Star-swallowing sword Tao. Star-swallowing sword technique. Chapter 1648. Without the power of the God Chain, Yang Wu could only rely on his own fighting strength to fight. Sword Tao, Spear Tao, Fist Tao. Yang Wu was proficient in all of them. If he didn't have any martial arts injuries, he could easily suppress Luo Minchao with his fighting strength. It was still unknown whether he could defeat him now. Luo Minchao was holding back his anger. Yang Wu had escaped several times. This time, he would not allow such a situation to happen again. Golden Wave Soaring Fist. Luo Minchao's strongest offensive power was his fists. He punched out with both fists, and golden fist shadows that filled the sky locked onto Yang Wu, shattering all the sword shadows that Yang Wu had slashed out. Yang Wu's battle Qi was not at its peak. Fortunately, his physical strength was strong enough to not be defeated. Luo Minchao's fist light broke through Yang Wu's sword Tao and landed on the Black Pot's defensive shield. The shield shook and forced Yang Wu to retreat again and again. "I'll beat you up." Luo Minchao took advantage of the situation and gathered all of his strength in his right hand. At the same time, the power of his talent superimposed. His golden arm was filled with terrifying power, and he punched toward Yang Wu. Talent, golden meteor. The punch was like a huge golden meteor that crushed toward Yang Wu. This was the strength of a top-tier immortal. It was the terrifying strength of an overlord. Yang Wu held the black pot tightly, and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. His opponent had pushed him too far. If he didn't kill to establish his power, others would think he was easy to bully. Bang! Yang Wu was sent flying by Luo Minchao's punch. Luo Minchao didn't have it easy either. The black pot's rebounding power was not weak, and it almost broke his arm. Luo Minchao took a deep breath and closed in on Yang Wu again. The others didn't make a move. They just froze the space and watched the show. Luo Minchao was already the strongest among them. If he couldn't take down Yang Wu, it would be their turn to take advantage of him. Moreover, they also wanted Luo Minchao to expend more energy so that they could fish in troubled waters. "This black pot is really good, but I want to see how long it can last." Luo Minchao roared. Suddenly, a short dagger flew out and stabbed towards Yang Wu. This was not an ordinary dagger. It was a true god-level dagger. He had been holding it until now. He wanted to break through Yang Wu's defense in one fell swoop. Now, Yang Wu was also waiting for an opportunity. When Luo Minchao threw out the short dagger, the soul bell swept out from the divine court. He poured the power of his immortal foundation into the soul bell, and his battle soul waved the soul bell, releasing a bell chime that attacked the soul spirit. Dong dong, soul reaping bell. No matter if it was Luo Minchao or the other God Realm warriors, none of them expected that Yang Wu still had such a trump card. Instantly, it gave him a splitting headache. There were even a few people with weak divine souls who were directly shaken to death. "Qi Jin, let's kill them together." Yang Wu roared. He held the Big Dipper sword and slashed towards Luo Minchao. The sword light flashed like a rainbow. Luo Minchao was cut in half on the spot. Even his divine soul was torn apart. It would not be easy for him to revive. Yang would not give him any chance. With a move of his finger, a top-notch divine flame swept out and burned the two halves of Luo Minchao's body. "Ah, how dare you!" Luo Minchao's vitality was indeed tenacious. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Yang Wu's blue flame caught up and burned him to ashes. After Yang Wu killed Luo Minchao mercilessly, the netherworld ice-winged blades slashed out invisibly. Lan Yao turned into torrential flames that burned in all directions. "How dare you chase after me? I will let you all die." Yang Wu's eyes were bloodshot as he roared. Ever since he came to the divine realm, his life had not been smooth. He thought that he could find a medicine god palace as a shelter, but he realized that it was not as simple as he thought. He did not seize the inheritance on purpose. How could they force him to death? Many deity realm experts were killed by Yang Wu and Qi Jin. They did not give them any chance at all. They attacked the soul of the god's court. As long as the soul was destroyed, it would be difficult for the corporeal body to survive. However, there were also experts here who had trump cards and were not easily killed by them. For example, the expert who was holding the divine mirror reacted very quickly. He was stunned by the soul bell, but he quickly came back to his senses. He was wearing a helmet that defended against soul attacks. He shouted, "Little bastard, over here." At the same time, he poured all of his power into the divine mirror. The divine mirror exploded with strong light and shot towards Yang Wu. Yang Wu did not want to let this person go. He directly shuttled through the void and dodged the attack of the divine light. When he appeared again, he was already behind this expert. The black walk smashed down on his head. Bang! The black walk was filled with immortal qi. Its power was boundless, and its crushing power was unparalleled. It smashed the head of this deity realm expert. Yang Wu killed many experts in succession. His aura became chaotic again. His Dao injury was faintly acting up again, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. He called out to Qi Jin, "Let's retreat." Qi Jin rushed over and quickly fled with Yangwu. Qi Jin no longer concealed himself. He directly transformed into a three-legged golden crow. His flying speed was much faster than when he was the divine firebird. However, Yangwu thought that it was not enough. He took out a drop of immortal liquid and let him swallow it. Oh! Qi Jin was completely excited. He was originally stuck at the peak stage of the demonic saint realm. With this drop of immortal liquid, it really helped him reach the sky in a single step. Deity realm experts from other directions rushed over one after another. Wang Zhangqi held a long spear and threw it at Yangwu from afar. The long spear was filled with boundless power. It tore through layers of space and stabbed at Yangwu. In addition, someone else shot out an incredibly stunning arrow. It tore through the air and chased after Yangwu. Just as Yangwu was about to be hit by these attacks, Qi Jin's speed suddenly increased explosively. He dodged the attacks and quickly fled into the distance. Qi Jin's cultivation level climbed steadily, quickly breaking into the demonic god level. And it didn't stop there. It was still rising. Not only that, but his bloodline power was also evolving. This was the benefit of the immortal liquid. He transformed into a sun, his boundless firepower illuminating the sky. He had just entered the demonic god level. Even with a top-tier lifeform bloodline, he couldn't easily shake off his pursuers. If you don't leave behind the inheritance of the Pill Furnace secret realm, you won't have a chance to live no matter what. Wang Zhangqi roared. He tore apart a divine talisman, instantly increasing his speed by several times. The flying divine talisman. The Tao of talismans was profound and unfathomable. Only a limited number of factions in the demonic god realm understood it. Wang Zhangqi had only obtained a few talismans by accident and used them with great caution. Now, in order to pursue Yangwu, he had no choice but to use them. Besides him, there were other demonic god-level cultivators also using their methods. Some people suddenly sprouted 8 wings on their backs, and their flying speed also increased explosively. Some people swallowed increasing medicinal pills, and some people summoned flying flags in the process of pursuing. There were also people who continuously shot out god tools, not wanting to let Yangwu escape. They had paid such a huge price, and they really didn't want Yangwu to escape from under their noses. In particular, the people of the Dark Pill Palace had already summoned even more people. They wanted to capture Yangwu alive. The people of the Boundless sect were the same. After they recognized Yangwu's identity, they definitely wouldn't let Yangwu escape. The true God Spear was too precious. In the following days, Yangwu fought as he fled. It was really too miserable. Although his soul bell was astonishing, every time it was activated, it would consume the power of the immortal foundation. It was very difficult to activate it again and again. He continuously fought bloody battles and killed many demonic god-level cultivators. However, he and Qi Jin were also seriously injured many times. They almost died at the hands of others. Fortunately, Yangwu had the immortal liquid. Otherwise, they would be dead. What made Yangwu extremely sad was that his Tao injury hadn't healed, and he couldn't use his full power. If he didn't have his Tao injury, he would definitely be able to kill Wang Zhangqi, Jiang Fan, and some other top-notch demonic god-level cultivators. He couldn't help but feel that there were more and more people chasing after Yangwu. The news that Yangwu obtained the Alchemy Furnace secret realm had already spread. He was also the person who obtained the inheritance of the true God's tomb. 2 important inheritance lands in Luo State had been obtained by the same person. After the news spread, a storm surged. The Alchemy Furnace secret realm is gone. Luo State lost another good place. A young man obtained the inheritance of the secret realm and also obtained the strongest combat weapon left behind by true God Yu Yan. This opportunity is too heaven-defying. An ordinary man's wealth is his own ruin. He's dead. I heard that he is the guest of Luo Manor. Luo Manor has already announced that they will protect him. I wonder if they can protect him. Medicine God Hall's branch also announced that they will save Wu Ho. Why do I feel that it doesn't mean much? If I don't take such an inheritance, am I supposed to give it to someone else? Just like that, various demonic god-level cultivators took action one after another. They even invited many true god weapons. They had to take down Yongwu. Among them, Yin Sect was also aggressive. They already knew that Yongwu was the murderer who killed Shi Lu and the others. Under the banner of arrest, they wanted to capture Yongwu and bring him back to Yin Sect. On top of that, Taiqing Sect was the same. Originally, everything in the true god's tomb belonged to them. In the end, Yongwu picked it up ready-made. They wouldn't let Yongwu go. Luo Manor had a great reputation in Luo Province. However, in the face of such a great temptation, they couldn't completely suppress these forces. They could only send out a strong team to search for Yongwu's whereabouts and escort Yongwu back to Luo Manor as soon as possible. As for Medicine God Hall's branch, they also had quite a lot of appeal. Especially under Nanshi's strong request, they also formed a strong team to search for Yongwu and prepare to escort Yongwu back. Yongwu naturally didn't know about this. He was fighting and running at the same time. He was in a sorry state. Ever since he came to the Divine Realm, he didn't have much peace. He couldn't help but feel that Yongwu had barged into a dangerous, forbidden area. Immediately, many demonic god-level cultivators stopped in their tracks. That place was one of the most dangerous places in Luo Province. It was called the God-Forbidding Grounds. The so-called God-Forbidding lands were places where any god-level expert would be restricted and unable to display their full strength. However, this restriction wasn't the most frightening thing. The most frightening thing was that the God-Forbidding lands would deprive them of their divine power. Chapter 1649. Yongwu knew very little about the divine world, and he didn't know much about the Luo state's geography. He kept running along the Pill Furnace Plain, not daring to stop. Even if the Luo Manor's people came to find him, he wouldn't stop. For him, he really didn't trust anyone. Currently, he could only trust his own fists. Since his Dao injury couldn't be healed, he had been relying on the immortal liquid. During this time, he had used more than 50 drops of immortal liquid. Fortunately, there was a lot of immortal liquid on the immortal immortality peach tree. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been enough for him. Qi Jin also benefited from it. He had swallowed a few drops of immortal liquid and saved his life. Otherwise, he would have been killed long ago. Qi Jin's strength had reached late-stage Yao God, which was equivalent to the human race's third-level Jade Moon. His strength had risen very quickly. This had a lot to do with his bloodline's great improvement. His battle prowess had also increased. He didn't even fear top-tier deities. It was with his help that Yongwu was able to escape again and again. However, the deities chasing him were getting stronger and stronger. There were even martial gods. Those who were called martial gods were top-tier overlords. Even if they hadn't reached the deity level, they could still unleash terrifying destructive power. Yongwu had lost the support of the divine chains, the soul bell, the black pot, and other true god-level items. It was very difficult for him to fight them. Of course, he still had the divine weapon, the electric fork. Its grade was definitely not inferior to the two divine weapons from before. That was his secret weapon. He didn't plan to summon it unless he was in a desperate situation. Now, he had been forced into the Forbidden Godland. He had only come here because Qi Jin had told him about it. The Forbidden Godland's function was similar to the Divine Firmament battlefield. After entering, one's strength would disappear. One could only rely on their physical body to fight. This place was also full of terrifying variables. There were also special creatures here. Most people who entered couldn't come out. According to legend, the creatures inside were sealed by supreme experts. They weren't allowed to leave and harm the world. Therefore, other creatures weren't allowed to get close to the seal. Anyone who entered would have their strength taken away. Naturally, they wouldn't be able to touch the seal. However, the Forbidden Godlands were also divided into different levels. In the outer area, one could still use 70% of their strength. Deeper in, one could use 50% of their strength. If one entered the inner area, their strength would completely disappear. Besides, this place was different from the battlefield of Shunshao. In the battlefield of Shunshao, one could recultivate one's strength, but here, one could not absorb strength let alone the xian-qi of heaven and earth. Even the power of the void could not be absorbed. Yang Wu and Qi Jin broke into this seemingly peaceful mountain range, and the people chasing them all stopped. That guy actually snuck into the Forbidden Land. He's really courting death. He might only stay in the periphery. Let's go over. Unless he goes deeper, we can't let him go. How troublesome. He killed quite a few of us along the way. The entire Luo province is his enemy. He won't be able to escape even if he grows wings. The people of the Luo Manor want to protect him, and they're already rushing over. I heard that they invited a big shot this time, so we have to capture him as soon as possible. Some of the Immortal State experts still did not want to let Yang Wu go. They advanced quickly, wanting to force Yang Wu into the inner area before they were willing to give up. They all knew that once Yang Wu entered the inner area of the Forbidden Godlands, Yang Wu would have no way out. They also wanted to capture Yang Wu before he entered the inner area. Obtaining their inheritance was the most important thing. When they rushed over, they saw with their own eyes that Yang Wu and Qi Jin had entered the inner area of the Forbidden Godlands. At this moment, they all stopped. They all felt that Yang Wu would rather enter the Forbidden Godlands than be captured by them. This guy was too ruthless. They still did not leave. They were waiting to see if Yang Wu would come back again. At the same time, more people rushed over. The people of the Luo Manor, the Medicine God Palace, these were all people who wanted to protect Yang Wu. When they heard that Yang Wu had entered the inner area of the Forbidden Godlands, they all showed a look of pity and then left. As the most powerful force in the Luo state, the Luo Manor was afraid of the Forbidden Godlands. Basically, no one from the human clan who entered the Forbidden Godlands could survive. The same thing happened to the True God Realm experts who entered the Forbidden Godlands. They did not think that Yang Wu could come out alive. Junior brother, Nancy murmured with a sad expression. She hated the people here and wanted to kill them all. However, it was just a thought. She did not have the ability to do so. There were also some people who were gloating. When Luo Zhuanglei and Luo Xiangxiang heard the news, they were secretly happy. He deserves it, they shouted in their hearts. This person has an extraordinary background. He has many true divine weapons on him. He won't die so easily. Let's stay and watch, Jiang Fan said in a deep voice. Wang Zhangqi also nodded. That's right. That brat has survived so many attacks. He definitely has some trump cards. Perhaps he won't die so easily. Let's just stay here. He'll definitely run out. Other than the two of them, there was a martial god who was even stronger than them. He said, other than sovereigns, there aren't many who can come out alive after entering the Forbidden Godlands. But for the Pill Furnace's inheritance, I don't mind waiting here. Many people recognized this martial god. He was an expert from the Nether Pill Palace. Although he was only at the High God Realm, his combat power was definitely greater than Jiang Fan and Wang Zhangqi's. He was called Shuiyu, and he was an extremely bloodthirsty fellow. Amongst this group of God Realm experts, he was the strongest. Other than him, there were several other martial gods, as well as hundreds of God Realm experts. They had not only come for the Pill Furnace's inheritance, but also for True God Yu Yan's spear. Yang Wu was just a cultivator who had just broken through to the heaven-piercing realm. He had provoked such a large group of people and still hadn't died. He really was powerful. In the depths of the Forbidden Godlands, Yang Wu hadn't gone in completely. He was just at the edge. His heart was filled with fear. He could sense that his strength was being stripped away. That kind of situation was extremely bad. This place was different from the Divine Firmament battlefield. If he lost his strength in the Divine Firmament battlefield, he could cultivate again. But here, no matter how he used his profound arts or secret arts, he couldn't receive the slightest bit of strength. Qi Jin was the same. He said, Master, let's go out. This place was completely barren. There were only rocks everywhere. There weren't any life forms, but it gave off an incomparably sinister feeling. Yang Wu's divine sense was actually unable to spread out. He opened his soul eye, and an incomparably shocked expression flashed across his face. He saw a hazy energy crisscrossing above this area, forming terrifying runes that seemed to be suppressing some ferocious creature. Just as he was about to get a closer look, he suddenly felt an energy attack his soul eye. Ah, Yang Wu didn't have time to close his soul eye before it was injured. That terrifying energy even wormed its way into his soul, wanting to destroy it. Fortunately, the soul bell suppressed that energy in time. Otherwise, he would have really died. Let's go. Blood was dripping from a space between Yang Wu's brows. He pulled Qi Jin back without hesitation. They were only at the edge of the depths. They hadn't gone in yet, but they almost lost their lives on the spot. If they went in again, it might be a dead end. That energy attack just now was at least comparable to the power of a true god. Without the soul bell, he would have died without a doubt. Fortunately, Qi Jin didn't move recklessly. He was scared to death and didn't activate the energy here. Yang Wu quickly pulled him out. After they left, they recovered some of their strength. The sense of danger also disappeared by more than half. However, they still had a kind of feeling of being stared at by a life form. Master, don't go in anymore. Let's just stay here, Qi Jin suggested. Yang Wu nodded with lingering fear in his heart. Okay, they wanted to stay here peacefully, but the others didn't give them the chance. There were life forms waiting outside. After seeing them come out, they rushed towards them. This was a vanguard team, and also a team that was going to die. They didn't want to enter this place at all, but their status was inferior to others. They could only listen to others' orders. After this team discovered that Yang Wu and Qi Jin had retreated, they quickly surrounded them. Brat, let's see how you escape this time. Hurry up and follow us out. We can still leave your corpses intact. Don't struggle here. These people were all threatening Yang Wu. They didn't dare to make a move immediately for fear of alerting the restriction power here. If that happened, they would be completely out of luck. Yang Wu didn't have a way out. He looked at these people and made up his mind. He shouted loudly, "Make a move if you have the ability. If you want to die, we'll all die together." These people still had some misgivings, but at this point they couldn't back down. Several people rushed towards Yang Wu at the same time. There were also people who charged towards Qi Jin, intending to end the battle as quickly as possible. These were all immortal-level cultivators. Moreover, they were the kind of people whose physical strength was rather good. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to use much of their Xianqi here. They wouldn't be able to display much of their combat strength at all. It would be better for them to fight directly with their physical bodies. Even without divine power, their combat strength was just as strong. The light of their blades and the shadows of their swords enveloped Yang Wu, not giving Yang Wu any chance to escape. However, they didn't know that in terms of physical strength, who could compare to Yang Wu? After being beaten up in the cauldron again, his physical body had reached the level of great success. It was far superior to ordinary divine bodies. Just the strength of his physical body was comparable to that of a top-tier immortal-level cultivator. In front of him, these powerless immortal-level cultivators were nothing but clay chickens and pottery dogs. Kill! Yang Wu roared loudly. He took the initiative to meet those attacks. His eyes locked onto the person who moved the fastest. He dodged the other party's sword light and mercilessly punched the other party's heart. Bang! That person completely didn't expect Yang Wu to attack so quickly. His heart suffered a heavy blow and shattered on the spot. His life was hanging by a thread. He still had a chance to save himself, but Yang Wu didn't give him the chance at all. He used his body as a shield to block the attacks of the others. Chapter 1650. The one Yang Wu had captured was chopped into several pieces. Only his soul remained. With his regenerative abilities, he should have been able to survive. However, Yang Wu had no intention of letting him go. He twisted his head off and shattered it. "You want to kill me? You're not qualified." Yang Wu roared, attacking like a wolf in a flock of sheep. The martial arts injury had affected the strength of his dantian, and it had also affected the strength of his martial arts. However, it had not affected the strength of his physical body. In this world, it would not be difficult for him to dominate. Qi Jin wasn't bad either. He was a three-legged golden crow, and his body was just as domineering. He wasn't afraid of fighting head-on. Yang Wu transformed into a barbaric dragon and attacked from left and right. One of them clashed head-on with his fist, and that person's arm was directly shattered. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. Another person was swept by Yang Wu's foot, and his waist exploded on the spot. One after another, blood-curdling screams resounded incessantly. Only now did they realize how monstrous Yang Wu's physical strength was. The people on the periphery looked at everything from afar, their faces full of excitement. How can this kid's body be so monstrous? Did he grow up drinking dragon's blood? He's built so perfectly. Could he really be a disciple of some hegemon? The Luo Manor wants to protect him. Perhaps it's someone from another province. What if they attack? How can he stop them? Don't think too much. Who can take him down is the key. There is no lack of body refiners among these experts. A 5th-level Jade Moon Skirich stepped forward and said, "I'll go capture him." This person's entire body was filled with muscles, and he was filled with explosive power. It was obvious at a glance that he was a body refiner. He was Zhang Dachang from the Tai Ching sect. Another person stepped forward. His body was not as sturdy as Zhang Daqiang's, but his body was extremely tall and well-proportioned. His entire body was covered with a thick demonic aura. Clearly, he was a demonic dweller who specialized in demonic aura. There was also a creature from another race and a demon that stepped forward. They were all people with extremely powerful bodies and rarely had an opponent at the same level. The 4 of them quickly rushed inside. At this point, Yang Wu had already slaughtered more than a dozen deity-level life forms, forcing the others to retreat. On the other side, Qi Jin had also killed a few people. He transformed into the true form of the 3-legged golden crow. Zhang Daqiang rushed towards Yang Wu with large strides. His aura locked onto Yang Wu. Both of his arms were covered with layers of gray scales. They looked like stone arms, but also like some kind of beast armor. They contained extraordinary power. This was his innate ability. Stone scale arm die. Zhang Daqiang roared. His body flew up, and a fist carrying a ferocious aura crushed down, full of explosive aura, broke through the air. The power of this punch was indeed much stronger than what those deity-rank powerhouses had unleashed. As expected of a martial artist who tempered his physical body, before the punch arrived, it already produced a suffocating smell. Yang Wu did not think that this was a simple straight punch. He saw that there were hidden changes in his opponent's punch. If he faced it head-on, his opponent would have a chain of changes that would kill him. On the other side, Yi also threw a demonic chain. The black light of the demonic chain was like a python that bound Yang Wu. Even if it was just pure power, it was still frightening. If this whip hit, no matter who it was, they would be broken in half. Yang Wu couldn't use his power, but that didn't mean he didn't have the ability to defend himself. He still had the Emperor Jade battle armor talent, so his talent power wouldn't be suppressed by the power here. He would only be suppressed if he went deeper. Yang Wu faced Zhang Daqiang's attack and did not even think about dodging. He raised his arm and threw a punch. How could the barbarian god's arm be weaker than his opponent's stone scale arm? The 2 fists collided, and there was the sound of bones breaking. Crack! Zhang Daqiang's arm was twisted. Blood seeped out, and his body flew backward. Yang Wu was unable to chase after him. Yi's whip landed on him, and he grabbed it with a backhand grip. He completely ignored the murderous aura on the whip and dragged Yi in his direction. Demon punch. Yi did not retreat. Instead, he rushed forward. His fist became bigger, and a fist full of demonic chi flew toward Yang Wu's head. This attack was not a fatal one. He had an even scarier move. Forearms suddenly grew from his back and attacked Yang Wu at the same time. 6-armed Sky Demon. This was the demon's innate ability that Yi had. Yang Wu also did not expect that as soon as he received the opponent's punch, several punches would simultaneously envelop him and hit his body, causing him to be unable to cope with them. Just as Yi thought that he could beat Yang Wu to death, he felt Yang Wu's extremely tough body. No, it should be the armor. It blocked his attack and did not hurt Yang Wu at all. Yang Wu's eyes flashed coldly. He moved his lower body and threw Yi to the ground. Whether it was the strength of his arms or the strength of his legs, Yang Wu was extremely outstanding. No one could stop him. Just as Yang Wu was about to stomp Yi to death, Zhang Daqiang attacked again. He had a mace in his hand. This was a high-level divine weapon that weighed 50,000 pounds. In Zhang Daqiang's hand, it was like an ordinary weapon that he swung freely. Yang Wu reacted quickly, as if he had eyes on the back of his head. He stood up and kicked, sending Zhang Daqiang's mace and himself flying. He bounced up, and several weapons appeared in his 6 arms. He threw them at Yang Wu. Playing with you guys is boring. Get rid of all of you. Yang Wu said with disdain. He did not avoid these divine weapons. He threw out a series of overbearing punches, using his physical strength to block these attacks. Brutal fist. No one could compare to his spirit of, I am the best. Yi Yi's divine weapon was sent flying, and all 6 of his arms were bleeding from the impact. He was so frightened that he looked extremely panicked. Yang Wu's body could block divine weapons. How could he fight this? Before he could react, Yang Wu had already grabbed his head and threw it back, smashing it on Zhang Daqiang's body. Yang Wu's nether ice wing blade slashed out, instantly cutting the two in half. A cold chi swept through their bodies, taking away their last bit of life. In the other direction, Qi Jin held the golden crow feather and was also fighting 1 against 2. The battle was extremely intense. Yang Wu saw that Qi Jin had the upper hand, but he didn't go over to help. His gaze was still locked onto the front. These people wouldn't let him off so easily. Right now, they were just probing people. Yang Wu didn't go over to help. Since he had Qi Jin as his mount, he had to make him stronger. He shouted, "If you have the ability, then come in. I'll beat you to death 1 by 1. Yang Wu was truly infuriated. These people were shamelessly chasing after him, but they were all famous figures. How could they bicker with someone who had just arrived in the god world? Since that was the case, he would beat them to death 1 by 1 here. He was confident he could kill the majority of them here. Shui Yu, Jiang Fan, Wang Zhangqi, and the others were infuriated by Yang Wu's provocation. They all realized that Yang Wu's physical body had a huge advantage. Otherwise, they wouldn't dare to spout such arrogant words. You're too arrogant. Just wait for me to capture you. One of the experts charged over. This was a stone golem expert from the Yin Gate. He was extremely large, and his body was incomparably tough. His physical body was definitely domineering. If he couldn't capture Yang Wu, they would have to send martial gods. Otherwise, no matter how many people they sent, they would just be sending themselves to their deaths. I'll beat you up. Yang Wu didn't wait for him to get close. His speed was shocking, and he directly circled behind the stone golem and unleashed a barbarian punch. The stoneman's defensive power was unparalleled, but its speed was much slower. When it was hit by Yang Wu's fist, it felt as if stars were crushing it, causing it endless pain. Without waiting for it to counterattack, Yang Wu punched 99 times in a row, then retreated. He clapped his hands and said, "I'm done. You're done. It's my turn." The stone man shouted. Just as he was about to attack Yang Wu, his body suddenly exploded, and he was blasted into pieces. A stone golem famed for its defensive power had died, just like that. All the experts were shocked. They once more examined Yang Wu's physical combat power. It was definitely comparable to the peak of the god realm. Finally, a martial god came out of the crowd. It's been a long time since I've encountered such a powerful opponent. I'll give you a fair chance to fight in the god restriction domain. You've taken advantage of me. This martial god slowly walked over to Yang Wu. This was the martial god from the profound herb hall. His name was Lu Te. Lu Te's cultivation base was not inferior to Shui Yu's, and his power was only slightly inferior to Shui Yu's. He was also an extremely ferocious person. Among this group of deity realm beings, his strength could be ranked in the top 5. We can't drag this out any longer. I'll also go capture this brat, said Jiang Fan. Then let's go together, said Wang Zhangqi. They were all very interested in Yang Wu's inheritance. They didn't want it to be taken away by others. Shui Yu's expression turned ruthless. Ganging up on this brat is pretty good. Count me in too. Shui Yu is definitely the strongest of this group. If he also joined in, Yang Wu wouldn't have much of a chance to survive. There was also a devil race expert joining in. With just the 5 of them, if they couldn't capture Yang Wu, then Yang Wu's name would definitely spread throughout Luo Prefecture. It might even spread to the other prefectures. In the distance, there were two groups of people watching the battle. One was the Herb Moonhall's people, while the other was the Skyblaze Sex people. The Herb Moonhall's people were led by Maisie Sheen. She also had several God Realm experts with her. Hall Master, are we really going to help? Asked someone beside Maisie Sheen. How can we not save our guests? Said Maisie Sheen. She paused for a moment before continuing, but wait until this battle is over. You're still a bit lacking compared to them. On the Skyblaze Sex side, the Skyblaze Sex Huo Shenzi said to the people beside him, in a bit, when boss breaks out, you have to save him. Don't do anything half-heartedly. Yes, Divine Son. Chapter 1651. Shui Yu, Jiang Fan, Wang Zhangqi, Lu Tai, and Mo Stu entered the outer region of the God-forbidden land. As soon as they entered, their Xian Qi cultivation bases were instantly halved. It would be very difficult for them to use their Xian Qi to fight here. Only those with powerful physical bodies would have the absolute advantage here. Furthermore, they couldn't carelessly touch their true God items, or they would be sucked into the depths of the God-forbidden land. They might even activate the restrictions here, causing unnecessary danger. Yang Wu looked at them calmly. He secretly adjusted every part of his body to its peak, preparing for the fiercest battle. He was sure that these fellows' physical bodies weren't much weaker than his. This was the God world, and there was no way he was the only one who had refined a true God body. Most likely, all of them had already refined a true God body. Entering the depths of the God-forbidden land was a path to death. Then he would fight to the death here. Lu Tai made the first move. He held a ghost-shaped saber and slashed down from the sky. Even without the support of Xian Qi, he still broke through the space. That sharp power was indeed not something that anyone could block. Experts were truly different when they attacked. Whether it was in terms of power or speed, they were much faster than others. Jiang Fan also didn't stay idle. He slashed his flamed sword at the peak of speed, stabbing it toward Yang Wu's eyes. After crippling Yang Wu's eyes, he was like a tiger with its teeth pulled out. There was nothing to fear. Wang Zhangqi raised his spear and slammed it down. Even the air shook from his dual dragon tyrant spear. Shui Yu wasn't in a rush to attack. His spiritual strength was floating, ready to deal a fatal blow to Yang Wu's soul at any moment. Mo Stu didn't target Yang Wu. Instead, he faced Qi Jin. He wanted to eat the three-legged golden crow's meat to strengthen his blood qi. Qi Jin was the first to attack. He was only an early demon god, while his opponent was a peak devil god. The difference between them was too great. If he didn't attack first, he would die very quickly. There were quite a few people watching this battle. Whether or not they could capture Yang Wu would depend on this. Now, Yang Wu had been forced into a corner. There was no way out. Kill! Yang Wu roared. His Emperor Jade battle armor floated as he entered his strongest state. His barbarian god's arms and wind god's legs increased their strength to their maximum. He fought against Lu Tai, Jiang Fan, and Wang Zhangqi. Yang Wuxia took out all of his battle weapons and fought with only his physical body. Barbaric Bull Fist, Barbarian Horse Fist, Savage Tiger Fist. The barbarian god's arm could unleash the power of the barbarian fist. Behind him, there seemed to be barbarian bulls, barbarian horses, and other barbarian beasts. Everyone was terrified. In addition, the Nether Ice Wing Blade and Blue Demonis also erupted. At this point, a competition of talent was also a trump card that could be used as a trump card. For these people to be able to reach the deity level, which one of them didn't have at least 1 innate ability, or even 2 or 3, Lu Tai was able to become a martial god, so he naturally had his own unique ability. The most powerful ability of his ability was his defense, the Iron Bastion. It formed layers of thick defensive power that could block the attacks of others. It was not much weaker than the Emperor Jade battle armor. When Yang Wu's attacks landed on his body, it was as if they had landed on an impenetrable wall. They didn't cause much damage to him. Instead, his saber lights repeatedly slashed at the Emperor Jade battle armor, making clanging sounds. The Emperor Jade battle armor's defense was very strong. It was formed by the Emperor Jade's Xian essence. As his strength increased, the armor's defense also increased a lot. In addition to Lu Tai, Yang Wu also had to deal with Jiang Fan and Wang Zhangqi. They were all using weapons. Only Yang Wu didn't use them. He unleashed punches after punches. He was in a fight to the death. His opponents weren't weak either. They all cultivated divine skills. Even without the support of Xian Qi, they could still destroy mountains and the earth. Bang bang. Yang Wu and the three of them were fighting hand to hand. One punched, one kicked. The fight was extremely intense. Yang Wu's Emperor Jade battle armor was shattered. Blood also seeped out. His physical body was very strong. It was comparable to a divine weapon. However, he was still injured. It was enough to show how powerful these guys were. Liu Te wasn't having a good time either. Yang Wu took advantage of his weakness and punched him 18 times in a row. His innate defense was directly destroyed, and this martial god was forced to retreat. Jiang Fan slashed Yang Wu several times with his sword. He was also trampled by Yang Wu's wind god's leg. His entire face was about to be deformed. Wang Zhangqi held a long spear in his hand. He didn't get too close to Yang Wu. He opened many bloody holes on Yang Wu's body. His hair was also burned by Lan Yao, making him bald. If he was a bit slower, Lan Yao could have swallowed him whole. Other than that, their innate attacks were also incomparably domineering. They pierced through Yang Wu's body, almost killing him on the spot. Jiang Fan's innate talent was the fire god all. Wang Zhangqi's innate talent was the halberd breaker. These attacks were impossible to defend against. They were powerful and difficult to block. After a round of fighting, Yang Wu's body was covered in blood and tatters. He looked extremely miserable. Shui Yu smiled indifferently at Yang Wu. This little bit of power is still too weak. Yang Wu had only just advanced to the early Jade Moon realm, and then he had suffered a martial injury. For him to be able to fight against peak god-tier experts like this was already extremely amazing. Yet Shui Yu didn't even place him in his eyes. Yang Wu now realized how powerful these god world experts were. He truly couldn't underestimate them. If this continues, I'll be killed. Yang Wu cursed inside. He used the astral battle fist to continue fighting. At the same time, he refined the immortal elixir to recover from his injuries. To him, his greatest advantage in this fight was his recovery ability. It was definitely much faster than theirs. It wasn't easy to use Xianqi here, and their recovery abilities were also weaker. They could only rely on the divine spring and divine pills to recover. As for Yang Wu, he had the power of an immortal root and could recover on his own. He also had the immortal elixir to increase his recovery speed. Furthermore, he could replenish his energy. Yang Wu truly was becoming fiercer the more he fought. Although he was covered in blood, he was still brimming with combat power. As for the other three, they were finding it more and more strenuous. They were unable to absorb the Xian Qi of heaven and earth, nor were they able to draw upon the power of the stars. Originally, they had been able to suppress Yang Wu, but as time passed, Yang Wu gained the upper hand. Not only that, but Yang Wu was also imitating their attacks. He quickly figured out their weaknesses, and Yang Wu took advantage of that to counterattack. Shui Yu also saw the situation, and he was surprised. It seemed he hadn't expected such a situation. "We can't drag this out any longer. Let's kill him together," shouted Liu Te. Jiang Fan and Wang Zhangqi both nodded and attacked with their full power, stones sinking into the sea. Huolong flipped over, rhinoceros reaching the heavens. The three of them unleashed their full strength at the same time, causing rocks to fly everywhere and explode continuously. The sky was filled with dust, blocking one's eyes. The earth-shattering spirit was quite frightening. The three of them were attacking with their full power, and each of their attacks contained a fatal threat. How could Yang Wu block them? In the face of these three powerful attacks, Yang Wu entered a state of disregard for his own life. It was like he was the only person in this world. These attacks were like a calamity that was trying to drown him. If he couldn't block them, he would be annihilated. Suddenly, he stepped into a horse stance and got into a simple stance. He waved his arms, and it was as if there were yin and yang fishes floating around his body, forming a black and white millstone. This was the Tao of Taiji. Let it be strong. The cool breeze points to the mountain. Let him be tyrannical. The bright moon shines over the river. At this moment, his entire body was covered in martial intent. He ignored these powerful attacks, as well as the extreme Dao that reversed the universe. Taiji Dao. This was a fist technique Yang Wu had learned from Wudong Mountain. He had comprehended the Taiji Dao and merged it into his Black Tortoise Dao, as well as his Life and Death Dao. The stronger his opponent, the more he could only use the 4,000 gene technique to deal with them. Bang! A series of powerful forces intertwined with each other, and a series of muffled sounds rang out. Startled cries rang out in the distance. Is that the true martial fist technique? The true martial hall has long since disappeared. Who would dare cultivate their techniques? Could it be that he's a remnant of the true martial hall? No wonder he has such power at such a young age. So he's a remnant of the true martial hall. Killing him really isn't wrong. The true martial emperor was once an unrivaled existence. There's nothing wrong with the true martial hall. The true martial hall was once one of the supreme halls in the divine world. Later, the Jinwu great emperor broke through the void and entered the ethereal immortal world. The true martial hall was still extremely tyrannical until an era ago when an immortal suddenly descended and swept away all the forces of the true martial hall. Among them, the forces of the wind, thunder, darkness, and light were all wiped out. The true martial hall was also uprooted and turned into ruins. There was also a decree that the true martial hall's lineage was abolished. From then on, almost no one practiced the true martial hall's lost techniques. The true martial hall became a taboo in the divine world. Yang Wu naturally didn't know about this. He entered a state where he forgot about himself and borrowed the strength of the three's attacks. When he dispelled their attacks, he also left a penetrating fist on their bodies, causing their flesh and blood to splatter everywhere. Yang Wu did not have the upper hand. The strength of these three people was tyrannical. None of them were inferior to him. They had also left terrifying marks on Yang Wu's body. His intestines were exposed, and his bones were clearly visible. Blood flowed everywhere. It could be said that Yang Wu had once more been crippled by them. The four of them were both heavily injured. No one was able to gain an advantage over them. Just at this moment, Shuiyu moved. Your combat strength isn't bad. It's time for me to attack. Shuiyu let out a long roar, and a powerful soul energy enveloped Yang Wu's head. Chapter 1652. The soul isolating barrier had locked onto Yang Wu. Yang Wu couldn't escape. Furthermore, it targeted souls. Once his soul was trapped, his entire soul would be pulled out. Once his soul was separated from his physical body's power would be crippled. Shuiyu's soul arts were the strongest. If he wanted to capture someone's soul, even a helmet wouldn't be able to block it. It would be forcibly pulled out. Yang Wu's soul was protected by the soul bell. It wasn't something an ordinary weapon could disturb. Even Shuiyu's soul isolating barrier was unable to do so. Shuiyu found that his soul isolating barrier was unable to pull out Yang Wu's soul. He was flabbergasted. He increased his spiritual strength, wanting to forcibly pull it out. I don't care what divine item you have protecting you. Get the hell out. His soul isolating barrier was a peak divine item. It could greatly increase its soul-sucking power. Yang Wu was still unaffected. He smashed the black walk over without hesitation. Bang! Even though the black walk did not have any power injected into it, it was still a true god weapon that was extremely tough. It directly smashed the soul isolating shield into pieces. Shuiyu's heart ached. He cursed, "Brat, you're dead." In the next instant, he personally charged into the battlefield. His speed was so shocking that even Yang Wu was unable to catch him. His shoulders were grabbed. Corpse-splitting claw. Shuiyu was truly worthy of being a martial god. He was stronger than anyone else present. Yang Wu felt like his shoulders were about to be crushed. Netherwing Ice Wing Blade. Heartflame Blue Demon Concubine. These two innate talents converged and attacked Shuiyu at the same time. Shuiyu reacted quickly. He instantly sent Yang Wu flying and vanished from his original spot. He wasn't touched by Yang Wu's energy at all. When he reappeared, he was beside Yang Wu. He once more reached out with his claws. One hand grabbed Yang Wu's throat, while the other grabbed Yang Wu's abdomen. He wanted to tear apart Yang Wu's body. Lu Tai, Jiang Fan, and Wang Zhangqi all sighed with relief. They hastily consumed medicinal pills to recover. They even retreated in fear of something unexpected happening. Regretfully for them, Yang Wu didn't give them that chance. Even if Shui Yu wanted to tear him apart, he could still counterattack and bury them here. Heart flame covered Yang Wu's body, forcing Shui Yu once more. Yang Wu seized the opportunity and roared, "Since you want me to die so much, then die with me." Then, the black walk smashed heavily into the ground. Before this, he had already used his soul to see that there were runes everywhere in this place. It was possible that a rune array had sealed this place, or it was possible that it was the forbidden power of an almighty figure. But no matter what, there were runes in the outer area. As long as he touched the forbidden power here, he believed that no one here would be able to escape. Yang Wu had already decided to risk his life, completely disregarding his own life. Shui Yu shrieked, "Are you crazy?" The other people's expressions changed drastically as well. They frantically tried to pull away, afraid that they would be sucked in. Bang! The black walk still smashed into the ground, and the boundless pressure caused the ground to tremble. The ground started to crack, and the rune energy hidden here flickered, transforming into a terrifying energy that rushed towards the living beings here. Swish! Numerous talisman inscriptions that were like blades filled the entire area. All the gods pissed their pants in terror. "Run, run. Otherwise, we won't be able to leave." Why is my power being stolen? I haven't even gotten close to the god's sealing ground. Not good. Why can't I move? That damnable brat. He's killing me. Crazy. The god sealing ground has been activated. Damn it. The god forbidding grounds was no joke. Anyone who dared to touch anything here, even if they were a god, would only have death awaiting them. After the forbidden energy was activated, no one in this area could escape. The sky was filled with rune blades, and even the deity-level life forms on the outside were being targeted. This place instantly became a land of slaughter. "I don't want to die here." Lu Tai howled as his entire body turned to stone. In addition, a divine weapon appeared beside him, forming layers and layers of defensive energy around him. He hoped that he would be able to defend against these runic energies. Sadly, his efforts were futile. His defensive energy was like a piece of paper torn apart by the runic energies. Very swiftly, only a pool of blood remained. On the other side, Jiang Fan and Wang Zhangqi weren't much better off. They had even brought out a true god decree and a true god weapon. They had to block this energy. "Ancestor, please protect me." Jiang Fan tore open the true god decree. The energy within it had been sealed. Or perhaps it was more accurate to say that the true gods didn't dare to descend upon this place to avoid a calamity. Wang Zhangqi now had a set of divine armor on his body. The helmet on his head wasn't a true god-level helmet. Even if his body was destroyed, he could protect his head and escape. There was still a chance of survival. Unfortunately, the power here was too strong. Even if a true god-level powerhouse was here, the odds were against them, let alone them. Puffed. In the blink of an eye, they also died. Shui Yu had lasted a bit longer than them. He had a death substitution talisman, but this energy destroyed his death substitution talisman, giving him the slightest chance to breathe. He transformed into a ghost and fled. There was still a broken tower above his head. It was also a true god-level item. He wanted to forcibly break out of the encirclement, but he was still turned into a pool of blood by the next wave of energy. Shui Yu still hadn't died. His soul was protected by a small bell, and that bell was still trying to charge out. That bell was definitely not an ordinary item. "You want me to die?" "Not so easy," roared Shui Yu. However, before the little bell could rush out of the bombardment of these forces, it was enveloped and taken away by a medicinal cauldron. Shui Yu was dumbfounded. How could a medicinal cauldron appear here? Furthermore, this medicinal cauldron was able to block this energy? Wasn't it too powerful? This medicinal cauldron was the bronze cauldron. This was the medicinal cauldron that Little Hay had given to Yang Wu. It had accompanied him throughout his travels. Even now, he still hadn't figured out what level this medicinal cauldron was. Even though he had obtained the item spirit's approval, the item spirit still hadn't told him what level it was. It had only said that it was an ancient item. Now, this medicinal cauldron was able to resist this energy without being destroyed. Only now did Yang Wu know that this ancient cauldron was truly extraordinary. Perhaps it was an immortal item. No matter what, this medicinal cauldron had saved his life. He was incomparably grateful to it, but he was even more grateful to Little Hay. Without Little Hay, he really would have died who knew how many times. The deity rank life forms far away from the Forbidden God grounds saw the eruption of activity and were so shocked that they broke out in cold sweat. Fortunately, they hadn't gotten too close, or they would have followed in their footsteps. What a pity! Mei Zixin sighed. Then she said to the people beside her, "Let's go back." They had finally managed to find an outstanding guest elder, but they hadn't even been able to properly use him before he was buried in the God-sealing land. Huixinci also revealed a look of regret. He brought his people back to Luo province. Once the forbidden energy of the God-sealing land was activated, even a true god wouldn't be able to survive, let alone Yang Wu. The people of other forces also left one after another. In their eyes, no one in the God-sealing land would be able to survive. The inheritance of the cauldron's secret realm was completely gone. In reality, Yang Wu hadn't died. He and Qi Jin were still inside the bronze cauldron. They hadn't been killed by the energy here. Wave after wave of clanging sounds rang out. Yang Wu and Qi Jin's ears were numb from the vibrations. They were afraid that the bronze cauldron wouldn't be able to withstand it, and they would be finished. Yang Wu wanted to control the bronze cauldron to leave this place, but there was a force binding the bronze cauldron and pulling it into the depths. Yang Wu sensed the situation, but there was nothing he could do. He could only resign himself to fate. He and Qi Jin continued to absorb the immortal liquid to recover from their injuries. Both of them were badly injured, especially Yang Wu. Other than his head, which was still intact, his entire body was in tatters. His intestines and bones were exposed. Qi Jin's wings were broken, his abdomen was pierced, and one of his legs was broken. His whole body was covered in blood. It was not easy for him to survive. After the bronze cauldron entered the depths of the God-sealing land, all the energy quieted down. The bronze cauldron landed in front of a deep pit. A voice came from the pit. "Are you a disciple of the true Martial Hall?" The voice was very weak. It could only be heard inside the God-sealing land. The outside world couldn't hear it at all. Yang Wu didn't dare to answer. He wasn't a disciple of the true Martial Hall. He was afraid that he would die if he spoke carelessly. Another voice came. "If you are a disciple of the true Martial Hall, you can teach us a secret technique and obtain supreme power. You can enjoy eternal life." That's right, that's right. Hurry up and help us break the seal of the talisman array here. Help us leave and restore the might of the true Martial Hall, another voice said. It was obvious that there was not just one living being sealed here, but many living beings. They could not leave this place, but they had extraordinary abilities. If anyone approached this place, they would either be killed by the power of the talisman array or be killed by their power. Yang Wu was stunned. What kind of existence was the creature sealed here? A top-notch true god creature? Or a creature above the true god level? Yang Wu didn't dare to speak. The person who spoke first said, "If you don't reply, you will die here." Then, there was a power fluctuation that shook the medicine cauldron continuously. It almost flipped the medicine cauldron over. Yang Wu had to speak. "Who are you?" "We are the elders of the true God Palace." "That's right. We are all experts of the true God Palace. As long as you break the seal here, we can escape. At that time, we can help you become an invincible overlord or even a great emperor. Come, we have countless inheritances and all sorts of high-level secret techniques. Even true gods can't get their hands on these treasures. We also have all kinds of true god weapons and high-level divine weapons. Yes, we also have high-level weapon refining techniques." Chapter 1653. These sealed fellows wanted to break free so badly that they went crazy. They kept trying to tempt Yang Wu. Yang Wu felt more and more unreliable. He asked again, "Then how do I lift the seal for you? I'm so weak. I'm afraid I can't do it." How do you know if you don't try? You have the martial intent of our true martial hall. If you merge it with our power, you can definitely break the talisman array here. That's right, that's right. I can sense that you also have the divine sword of the great emperor. As long as you have the divine sword, you can definitely break the talisman array. Don't waste time. Come out quickly and do as we say. You can definitely destroy this damn place. These creatures continued to urge him. Their voices carried a bewitching intent. If Yang Wu didn't have the soul bell, he would definitely be tempted by their voices. Yang Wu felt more and more strange. He concluded that these fellows were definitely not good people. Looks like I have to think of a way to leave. Yang Wu thought to himself. He stalled for time with these creatures while plotting a way out. In the end, he decided to listen to these fellows and try to see if this place was compatible with the martial intent. If it was, he might be able to leave this place. Yang Wu didn't dare to come out of the medicinal cauldron. He held the Big Dipper sword in the medicinal cauldron and practiced the Taiji sword technique. The Big Dipper sword was obtained from Wudong, and Wudong worshipped the great Emperor Zhenwu. This divine weapon was naturally the great Emperor Zhenwu's famous weapon. The Taiji Dao wasn't the cultivation technique that the great Emperor Zhenwu cultivated. However, the Taiji Dao was derived from the great Emperor Zhenwu's Dao by his younger disciples and formed a new great Dao. When Yang Wu waved the sword technique, he seemed to feel an inexplicable connection with this place. However, it wasn't very obvious. Those fellows were still chattering nonstop, insisting on forcing Yang Wu to come out. There were also waves of power that shook the medicinal cauldron, trying to force Yang Wu to come out. Yang Wu was indifferent and continued to practice his Taiji sword technique. After a long while, he still felt that this wasn't enough. He muttered, "Do I really have to go out and take a look?" The bronze cauldron had already isolated him from the outside world. His blind practice did not seem to have much effect. "Sirs, I am ready to come out. Don't try to trick me. If I die, you can forget about leaving this place for the rest of your lives." Yang Wu sent a secret vocal transmission to the outside. "With us here, you won't die. As long as you don't use any power, the talisman formation here won't do anything to you. Come out quickly and follow our instructions." Thus, Yang Wu gritted his teeth and shot out of the medicinal cauldron. When Yang Wu came out from within, he indeed didn't suffer any more attacks. He didn't know if it was as they said, that as long as he didn't touch the runes here, he wouldn't be attacked. Very quickly, he discovered that this wasn't the case. The Big Dipper sword in his hand was faintly moving, seemingly resonating with this place and isolating the runic energy here. This feeling was a bit like returning to the divine firmament battlefield and the feeling in the wind spirit race's temple. It was the willpower of great Emperor Zhenwu. No, this is a talisman formation set up by great Emperor Zhenwu. The creature suppressed here is definitely not from the true martial hall. Yang Wu exclaimed in his heart. The next moment, he called back the bronze cauldron and frantically rushed out. "Heavens, earth, great Emperor Zhenwu, please protect me and let me break through this dangerous situation," Yang Wu murmured. "Bastard, you actually dare to run? Are you tired of living? Damn, brat, do you really think you can escape? Come back here. If you don't let us out, don't even think about leaving this place." The creature in the deep pit roared. A power seeped out and bound Yang Wu's direction. With Yang Wu's strength, he couldn't break free at all. He couldn't help but shout, "I am the great emperor. You dare to defy me? Die." As his shout rang out, the power of the talisman formation in this forbidden area was instantly activated. The Big Dipper sword in his hand also shone with a dazzling light. A majestic power gathered, and the sword was swung down toward the deep pit. The power of the talisman formation seemed to have been commanded and sank into the deep pit. A series of miserable screams rang out from the deep pit. "You scourges, I've been especially kind to you by suppressing you here. Now, you still don't know how to repent. All of you can die." Yang Wu's killing intent surged. The power of the talisman formation in the sky surged and continued to suppress the deep pit. "Great Emperor Zhenwu, you're too despicable. Don't wait for me to break free, or I'll destroy your orthodoxy." You've imprisoned us here and tortured us for so many years. Is it still not enough? If you can't kill us today, when you break free in the future, the people of the God realm will be plunged into misery and suffering. The immortal king won't let you go. I've long heard that your orthodoxy has been destroyed. You must be dead too. This is your reincarnation, right? Let's kill you. The living beings here were not from the true martial hall, but the living beings suppressed here by the true martial hall. They roared crazily, and the power of the talisman formation gradually weakened. In the end, they completely fell silent. No one knew whether they were alive or dead. Yang Wu bowed as if he had collapsed. His eyes were filled with deep confusion. What was wrong with him? Could he really be the reincarnation of the great Emperor Jinwu? He looked at the Big Dipper sword and muttered, "It's you. It must be you. I should have returned it to Wudong long ago." After saying that, he wanted to throw the Big Dipper sword away. He didn't like the feeling of being controlled by others. It was very uncomfortable. At this moment, dark clouds suddenly covered the sky, and a terrifying aura pressed down. This terrifying power instantly alarmed all the true God experts in the entire Luo province. One by one, they rushed out of their seclusion grounds and looked in the direction of the God-forbidding land. Their eyes were filled with deep nervousness. Who went to disturb the God-forbidding land? They deserve to die. Have the immortals descended to the mortal world again? They really don't take the restrictions of the God realm seriously. So many years have passed. Why haven't they stopped paying attention to the God realm? What a terrifying power. What kind of God is sealed in the God-forbidding land? They've been fighting nonstop. It's only the living beings of the God realm who are harmed. These were all the top overlords of the Luo province. They were all true God experts. Any one of them could make the Luo province tremble. Even they were so shocked. It was clear how terrifying this sudden power was. The creatures around the Forbidden Godland were even more terrified. Those who were flying in the air were so frightened that they immediately fell down. They were extremely flustered. In the God-forbidding land, Yang Wu felt a great pressure. The Big Dipper sword in his hand trembled nonstop. A majestic willpower spread out from the sword and attached itself to Yang Wu's body. Yang Wu lost control again. Jinwu, you really have a trump card in the God realm. Is this your reincarnation? Don't think about it. Be destroyed. A voice seemed to pass through layers of space and descended in the God-forbidding land. A huge palm came crashing down on the God-forbidding land. Such destructive might was truly terrifying to the extreme. Your devil's hand is too long. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? I'll take revenge in the future. Now, I'll cut off one of your hands first. Yang Wu's eyes were like lanterns. He held the Big Dipper sword and slashed out. This slash wasn't the star-swallowing sword technique. It was the Big Dipper sword technique. This was the real sword technique of the Big Dipper sword. The slash was like the Big Dipper sword technique. The slash was like the Big Dipper sword technique. Rumble, rumble. The two slashes collided with each other. An incomparably intense impact occurred. Endless vibrations spread out continuously. The living beings near the God-forbidding land were all killed on the spot. The huge palm was very powerful. The power of the palm continued to press down. Countless sword chi were shattered. Yang Wu, who had been possessed, was not weak either. One move after another of his exquisite sword intense could split the heavens and the earth. His might was torrential. Yang Wu's soul seemed to have jumped out to spectate the battle. A battle of this level was too far away from him, yet he could actually see it clearly. He could see that these moves contained a supreme will of the martial Tao, intertwined with strands of immortal law. Every strand of law could move mountains and fill seas. Is this the power of a transcendent god? Yang Wu murmured. The two super god-level powerhouses exchanged blow after blow across the air. They came and went quickly. The Big Dipper sword in Yang Wu's hand was even stronger. It slashed the huge palm that came from afar. Jinwu, you really have a trick up your sleeve. This immortal will definitely turn you into ashes. A scream rang out in the distant space. When you killed my disciples and grand disciples, it was destined that we would not rest until one of us was dead. Don't think that I can't touch you just because you have an immortal protecting you. Just wait. I will uproot your bloodline, Yang Wu replied faintly. You won't have such a chance. As long as you dare to show your face again, I will kill you completely. This sovereign will wait for you. The dark clouds all retreated. The sky returned to normal. The power on Yang Wu's body disappeared. It returned to the Big Dipper sword. When Yang Wu looked at the Big Dipper sword again, he found traces of sword marks. Clearly, it could break at any time. I don't know what relationship you have with me. You've used me many times, but you've also helped me many times. From now on, I will abandon you. When I return to Wudong, I will return you to you. Yang Wu sighed heavily and put the Big Dipper sword away. At the same time, he felt the Big Dipper sword imprint in the God's Court Dao flower. The Big Dipper sword art wasn't just a sword skill. It was a sword art. Cultivating this sword art was equivalent to cultivating the same sword skill. Yang Wu discovered that this was a true God-level sword art, so he integrated it into the Imperial Nine Mysteries mantra. When the Big Dipper sword art was integrated into the Imperial Nine Mysteries mantra, the Imperial Nine Mysteries mantra could be used in this world. Yang Wu was instantly overjoyed. This is the sealed land left behind by great Emperor Zhenwu. Finally, there is no longer any suppression on me. Before he could rejoice, the Big Dipper sword's voice rang out. The restriction here has been destroyed. I'm afraid it will break in less than 100 years. You need to increase your cultivation as quickly as possible. When you become an immortal one day, you can kill all the scourges here. Don't be soft-hearted anymore. What does this have to do with me?